recording.
Hello. I am so excited to be here with the one, the only Chili, winner of Something Awful Let's Play. Sorry, I had a cat join us there for a second.
No chat on this end tonight, fortunately.
Oh, yeah. This is where you should have just done all your challenges so you didn't have to worry about butterscotch.
Don't think I didn't consider it. No cats allowed in my office.
Yeah. Well, Chili, first, I am so excited for you. I am so happy for you. When it was like 10 months ago or however long it was ago that we were sitting down talking about my game, I was really like, oh my gosh, I hope Chili wins the next one. And then when you got signed up and you started playing and everything just sort of broke your way, I was like, yes, I'm so excited. So I've been looking forward to doing this. I've talked to almost almost the entire jury at some point or another.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to this. I just wanted to start with a toast to
Oh yeah.
victory.
I'm a cider guy myself, so
It's okay. I just have this little Sutter Home Sweet Riesling bottle of wine that was in my
I
fridge.
walked right past that on the way to my cider purchase. I
So
noticed that. So
yeah,
L'chaim.
delicious.
I hope so. I hope you're enjoying that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to start with saying thank you to you for the multimedia experience that you did for this game. The video confessionals, like you had done those last game, but you really went balls to the wall on this game. Was there anything on like did you go as far as you wanted to go with that, or were you like wanting to go even further but just couldn't for whatever reason?
Yeah, so I'll first admit that it was an entirely a self-serving endeavor on my part. I wanted to do everything that I did. Um, between just like the shooting of the video stuff, and then when the fog kind of cleared when I realized that the woods behind my house was a really great place to shoot stuff. And I didn't think about that largely because I didn't know about the walking paths and all that were available. What I can say is that if you gave me more time, if this game went for another 5 weeks, I have no idea how far this would have gone, but it would have not stopped and it would have kept on going. And that's just how I work. If this started off relatively small last year, I just like sat in front of my webcam and pressed record. And then when the season ended, ideas just kept on snowballing as to like what I could do. And so yeah, as time marched on, it got bigger and bigger, and it became something I enjoyed more. And if it didn't get bigger, it would have gotten stale and boring, and I would have stopped doing it. There's no way I'm just sitting in my basement for 39 days, just shooting video after video after video. And by the way, I shot some here too. I had like 5 shooting locations, but if you see like those little command strips, my house has these pairs of command strips everywhere, and that is like where I would hang that backdrop, that dorky, horrible backdrop that I got on Amazon. So like I just I got it like creative, adaptive, and I rolled with it. So it would have gotten bigger, but I don't know what it looks like because I'm not still there. But if I were, I would have hopefully found more to do with it.
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely incredible. Um,
Though, oh, I will say I didn't get to shoot my Ponderosa video because I never thought I was gonna win until pretty late. Like my whole goal was to make it to Ponderosa and then try to do like Ponderosa videos with all the other jurors, and I was gonna get like a tiki bar backdrop, and I was gonna do a bunch of other shit, but no one voted me out, so I didn't get to go to Ponderosa, which meant that I had to go to the woods instead. So that was the hope.
yeah, I loved when you switched to the woods backdrop and everything. I thought that was very funny. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I thought that was really funny, and I liked the progressive dirtiness of the shirt. I will say I also really liked the buff too, but mostly because my name was like right up there in the
Yeah,
front. So it's like a little like
indeed. I think could I do that again, I probably would have put all of my tribe mates' names on it. I didn't know how it was going to work, and I custom ordered that on Etsy, so I had no idea how many names would look good. Turns out they had to like double up on all the names, so I probably should have just put all of the tribe mates on there. But I figured it would be enough, so the mods were a fewer number, And I wasn't going to play any favorites over Taste, who was my favorite. So I just figured
Yeah.
me and Taste in the mods. But what you gonna do? Lesson learned.
Yeah. So going into this, you had just said, that your kind of your goal was to at least make it to Ponderosa. Um, did you like when you saw the cast list? Was there anybody that you were like, I definitely want to work with them? This is a person I'm worried about. Anything like that? Because I know that
Yeah.
like Merc and Spokes you had played with
Mhm.
previously.
So yeah, the only gut reaction I had was Merc, who, look, I've got a long history with. Merc and I had played Mafia for a really long time together, but more distinctly and recently, cut his ass on day one in Scum vs. Town. It was mostly my fault. Like, Deadbeat Dad has to shoulder some of the blame, but like, if it weren't for me, he's gone. He's not gone in the way that he was. And I know Merc, but I didn't know him well. Like now I really know Merc. We bonded like hell over this game, and I'm pleased as punch that we did. But I didn't know if he was like a vindictive dude. I didn't know if he would think it'd be funny to cut me. By the way, like he ended up trying to, and it would have been pure poetry if like I snuffed him in the beginning and he snuffed me at the end. But he was about the only person I had any prior relationship with, and I figured it was a problem. I said so in my confessional, like early. I'm like, this is not good. I hope he's gone before the merge, because I was worried. Beyond that, I mean, I knew of Jose, but again, not very well. We've just played Mafia, and it had been a while. So I had nothing but just like hope that someone there would meet with me halfway. Anyone that I knew was on beef, not cheese, between Merc and Spokes, who I had played with. So it was pretty much a blank slate when I jumped in.
I know that your first week it was a little tough with half the I think when I did the alliance chart, I classified like almost half the
Like the floaters.
yeah, your tribe as unaligned floaters. Did you ever consider the fact that maybe they just were playing but just weren't playing with you?
A couple times, but I didn't and couldn't quite understand how that could be possible. And this is and look, I'm here to talk about like the good shit that I did for sure, but there are flaws in my game, and this was probably the biggest one that persisted throughout the entirety of my game, and that's just like rigidity and assuming that if people aren't doing shit my way, that they're not doing shit, and no one else was insane enough to do what I did during this game. And I don't fault or begrudge anyone for not, buying a backdrop and filming a bunch of shit and buying totally into this. So from my perspective, like I was kind of hoping the game was going on beside me, but I didn't think it was. And, in retrospect, I don't know how much of it was. Like they were playing, but not playing quite to the level that the other four people were. Jose, myself, Elgen, and Taste. Like I don't think as much was going on. And that's okay, by the way. I don't begrudge anybody for that, but they weren't buying in at the same level.
Yeah, it was a little tough for the viewers to kind of, oh my god, this cat. See now I'm
You're doing the chili impression.
yeah.
I think one of my catchphrases, not tonight. He's such a shitlord. You gotta find your cat catchphrases.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Okay. Enough. Okay.
My heart is with you.
No, I actually agree with you to a point that your view on like okay, they're not playing with me, they must not be playing was sort of a problem that did kind of persist like throughout. I will say that a couple people had stuff going on that was like not game related, and I could totally
Mhm.
understand like,
Yeah, I've come to learn a little bit about that.
but
Yeah.
like the fascinating thing about Drake, like, are you aware that Drake has never even watched an episode of Survivor?
Yeah, that was actually my icebreaker question to most people was, "Are you a fan of the show?" I believe Drake was not the only one who had never seen it. I think Chaos is also in that group. I believe Sally is too, or like most of them. I think it was literally, I believe, just Taste and Jose who had seen it. Most hadn't seen the show or had much of an understanding of how the game works.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, when I found that out, it kind of changed my view on how Drake played.
Mhm.
And uh, it was interesting to kind of watch that. I feel like every time I've talked to somebody from the Cheese Tribe, like the first week of the game is just super boring to talk about because it was like you guys never went to tribal council.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, you probably did have an interesting first week. Like, so how did your friendship with Taste kind of, or your partnership with Taste kind of come? The basics that I got was just that you were both active in chat and you were like, all right, let's do this thing.
Yeah, I mean the thought of taking a chat public didn't really occur to me until later. When we formed the Jalapeno Popper chat. But before then, we had talked, and I think the majority of our talk happened outside of that because we were buddies. And it's weird, I don't think that my memories about this are right. Memories by default really do suck. So his is different than mine, and how he posted in Final Tribal is different than mine. But I won't defend my version of history. But please feel free to ask him. My recollection was is that it was indeed a fast partnership, and the proof of that is that we both started two alliances with one other person. Which, by the way, I hate. And I did that last season with Deadbeat Dad, and I think it's a huge problem. It's not something I would do again, but we started an alliance with Jose and El Gen. I think the whole thing really did just start, though, because, as you said, he hit the ball back.
Yeah.
He had seen the show a little bit, but more importantly, he was responsive. It seemed like he really just wanted to talk. And honestly, that's all I need. I just need someone to
Hmm.
talk with me about anything. Like I will find common ground. I will find shared interests. It doesn't take long, but you just got to play with me. I
Yeah.
did feel like for a lot of the people I was hitting walls. I was throwing sort of conversational lobs out there, and it just kind of felt like they landed and didn't get hit back to me. So that's kind of how it was, but it wasn't that way with Taste for sure, not at all.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch, like your confessionals and everything, and how, you talked about like you and Taste, and then Jose, and then Elgen, and how that was really like the four. And, the one time you did have to go to tribal, it was after the swap, and, so it wasn't even like,
No, it wasn't a problem.
yeah.
Like, let's be real. And this also was a consistent theme throughout the season for me personally. Like, obviously, I care about the game and I care about the experience of being in it, but also watching it. And I was constantly worried that this was a boring season. Like,
Um,
I was worried that it was, I mean, like, from my position, every single tribal I went to, the outcome was the outcome I thought it would be. And so I started thinking like, how predictable is this? Like how dull and flat and just like, line them up, knock them down is this season? I'm sure that wasn't the case because I had an inside view, or at least it wasn't entirely the case, but it wasn't terribly, dramatic early on
uh,
for sure.
yeah, I would say after the merge vote, that one was pretty exciting.
Yeah,
But
see, it didn't. I'm curious to learn more about that, and I've purposely like avoided doing the research. I haven't done any ego searching yet. I haven't looked at the Vista comments. I'm really looking forward to it, but I just want to talk with you first
yeah,
because it seems like
well,
there's some intrigue in that vote.
well,
But I guess we'll get there.
yeah, we'll get there, and I'll break it down for you, and we can play sort of this like what if game.
Mhm.
But it was a little like, and you probably, if when you ego search, you'll probably see where I'm like, my God, I wish something would fucking happen to like
Oh my
just kind
God.
of
Oh.
knock Chili down a peg, but not like necessarily get him voted. Like, I didn't want you
No,
voted out, but like,
I wanted something to like give me something to react to. It's a show in my head. Like I wanted like my oh no moment, and I didn't get one. It never really happened to me. Not even not early, not mid, not late. Like I didn't get caught off guard.
yeah. And I mean, look, as someone who was caught off guard constantly, and whose blood pressure would go through the roof, like every tribal council, it's probably better for your health that
I'm sure.
you did know where everything was going.
But there's a happy medium, right? Like you want some level of gotcha moments, something to sort of take you
Yeah.
down. Because like yeah, look, it's nice to be at the top of the sort of game, looking down, knowing, but like you said, like knock down a peg because that's where the fun shit is. It's in the middle. It's like,
Hmm.
you have this bird's eye view of the game the whole time. There's not a lot of intrigue. This isn't, and look, so much of this does just come down to luck of the draw and positioning and like where I was. I'm not claiming that I climbed the ladder. I think I kind of landed there and I stayed there for a while.
Yeah, I think that when you and so I thought that one of the most interesting things that happened week one was so Elgin won the Kong's challenge,
Right.
and
By being AFK.
yeah, by being AFK, and then Sally had won the immunity idol clue by where they signed the flag.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that that was Sally. Okay.
Uh, Wait,
Oh no,
no,
it was Toaster. It was
it was
Toaster.
Toaster. Sorry, yes,
Toaster,
yes.
and I believe it wasn't based on where they signed. That was a lie that I made up, or maybe Toaster wasn't being fully honest. Toaster said that they interacted with the flag, and then the clue was there,
No,
and that
it was where they
oh, that
signed
was
on.
where they signed.
Yeah,
Okay,
which is
well, it's similar
exactly
to
the same
where,
thing that happened last year.
right? That's how I found mine.
Yeah. And so, I thought it was interesting that like both Toaster and Elgin just on the same night just offered up their
I
hidden
That
immunity
made
idol
no
clue.
sense. Yeah, I so okay, so it had to kind of happen for Elgen. He needed to pay penance for AFKing on the challenge, and the tribe was not good with him getting the clue and then just like coasting with it because he AFK'd and nearly lost it for us. I mean, he took it to a coin toss, but he didn't need to be honest. He could like there are three numbers that made no sense to anyone, so just make them up. I mean, it's one way to play it. But the fact that he wasn't, and by the way, he could have just been honest with his alliance and then thrown something else out there. But then
Hmm.
Toaster out of nowhere, and I think what it really was it was like an avenue for Toaster to participate, and it opened the door for them. And that's sort of like a kind of a key theme, especially early on. It's like I don't think a lot of the newer players knew how to get started. Like you get this clue, it's abstract, it doesn't make any sense. Well, I'm playing with a bunch of people and someone just shares share, and then we can work together as a team. And honestly, that makes a ton of sense. Like from like a Survivor super fan perspective, I was watching that and going like, "What the hell are you doing?" By the way, gimme, gimme, gimme. But like I can understand though why if you don't really know the game very well and you want to work together, and by the way, like our tribe is winning, let's keep it together. It makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the thing that I thought was really interesting after that was like the way that Taste had kind of revealed to you,
Mhm.
oh, here I found this idol and I found it completely on accident.
Yeah, because he's a beast. That's
Yeah, he
yeah.
Russell Hantz that
He hands
motherfucker.
he hands the fuck out of that idol. I just God bless. He just went through all of those forums and just found that shit. Which, by the way, we each did like multiple times after that. I'd say it was like a tri-nightly ritual that we would just like go through all of the forums just to make sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the first challenge was the Kong's challenge, which we kind of talked about, where it basically came down to a coin flip.
Mhm.
Second challenge was code names,
Mhm.
and unlike last year, unlike last season where the other team, where the town tribe just threw the fuck out of code names and like
I,
the whole thing
yeah.
lasted like 20 minutes. You guys had a pretty epic game of code names.
Yeah.
I know that I thought it was interesting the way that you pushed to become the caller, but like didn't really like force the issue. You were like, I will do it. If somebody else wants to do it, that's fine.
Mhm.
But I thought that was really good. I thought that was a really good play on your part.
It was kind of reading the room. I think El Generico was the only other one who showed any remote interest in it, and he's a gamer, and he probably would have done a fine job. I did believe I knew I was the most experienced player there, but and Hash will talk with me about this. He apparently pushed very hard. He had no problem saying me, and that's cool because honestly, that's a more honest approach than I took. I was probably just as desperate to be the caller, but I had faith that my tribe would like let me. And the key part there was that we had our little the same thing that they did. We had a little rally right beforehand where I booted up the game, I showed them how it all works, and I explained it.
Mm-hmm.
And I flexed a little. I talked about some of the special rules to make it very clear that I knew some things, and I
Yeah.
really wanted them to choose me, and they did. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
But I think it was a better approach not seem that desperate because I
That
was already worried about my image anyway.
yeah, that game of Codenames was pretty epic to watch. I mean, it was it wasn't it didn't end up finishing close, but I mean, I thought the first two rounds were pretty damn close, and it was I think you had to win by 3 points, or I think
It was at the end of three games. You had to have the most points.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
they were only like 3 points behind you, so they
Going into the third, they were 3 points behind.
yeah.
But it was tough too because the way Codenames works is that the first player to go gets nine, or has to get nine, which in this case is just a straight advantage. So they had one more point available to them than us at the end.
Oh, I
So
hadn't
it's a
even
little tough.
yeah, I hadn't even considered that, but interesting.
Yeah. Because we had won our two games, but it didn't really matter at the end of the day because it was down to points. They had 9 plus 9 plus 8 points available to them. We had 8 plus 9 plus 8. So they had one more point out there to grab. So it was a
Yeah.
slight advantage going into it.
Yeah. I thought the Codenames game was really fun. You and Haschel both had great clues.
Yeah.
Karate Gi was like a terrible clue.
It was, well, I wouldn't say it was terrible, but here's the deal, and here's how I play code names, and here's how everyone does. Generally speaking, the spy masters are talking, and I understand why that wasn't a good idea here. But usually, if you have a word you're on the fence about, you just ask the other spy master. They say yay or nay, and you feel the spy master out, and by the end, you have a decent understanding of what each will allow and won't. I understand again why that wasn't on the table for this, but
Hmm.
God, knowing what I know about Haschel now, if we could talk then, that would have been a lot of fucking fun.
Oh, it
Because,
would have. That would
I
have
mean,
been
for
pretty.
me, I at least had the stream, but he was sitting there by himself for like 3 hours. I felt bad. I mean, we're watching the chat, but it's tough. So it would have been nice to talk to him.
Yeah, for some reason I felt like last year the Spy Masters were able to talk to each other, but
Hmm.
it's possible that I'm completely mistaken about
And
that.
maybe doing so presented some kind of a problem. I'm not calling it into question, but like generally speaking, like and why I didn't take much issue. I didn't have a problem with any of the words they played, because they're all words that I would have just said fine to in the spirit of like just good gameplay. I get why it got difficult, but karate gi is a fucking word. It's a word. I don't care if it's in the MW or not. It's a word. I remember from when I was a kid and I had to order the thing out of the catalog. It was there. So this is like a Slumdog Millionaire thing. I don't care. It's a word.
Hmm.
But the dumb shit is that Gi would have been better. Gi was the better clue. Putting karate in actually fucked me. So whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly I don't remember this at all, and I have.
Sorry, I'm just pulling
Anyway,
up my competition tracker real quick here.
sure.
All right. So then we had code names. So then after that we had Predator Prey,
Mhm.
and that was fun. I loved in Predator Prey when you just like randomly took your shot in the dark and you hit. Let's see, because
Everything I wanted. We got so lucky.
yeah, because you were what? You were like the where's your
I was the bird. It was the
the plover?
rover. Plover. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna take a look at Spokes, and then you're like, oh, Spokes the fucking crocodile. Like,
Well,
oh my
here's the
god.
funny thing. That fucked me. That actually lost it for me. Because I was stupid and I figured, oh, to achieve my win condition, I don't need to survive, but Spokes does. The problem was to win that challenge, I need to do more than survive. I needed to do more than win. I needed to also survive. So I shot myself in the foot because I realized he can eat me.
Hmm.
Had I not known that, I would have tried to not be eaten. And then I would have won, or at least gone up against Chaos for like the prize at the end. But
Yeah,
happy with how it shook out.
usually, in this game, so there's a Korean TV show
Yeah, it's a
called
genius, right?
The Genius, and
Yeah.
this was one of the games in Genius, as was actually the Kong game too, was a Genius game. And so Cena adding the tiebreaker points was kind of like a last minute thing, and I think
It
that
changes the balancing of it.
yeah, and I think that had we sort of had some time to workshop it, I think we probably would have ran this at the merge, instead, where there could be only one winner.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, makes sense.
or yeah, whatever.
Or even, yeah, however, I mean, but like I understand the ambition of the game and it's a cool game, but it definitely did make it tricky. Like I don't know, like I think one of the advantages of the character that I drew was that I could die. But if you take that away from me, suddenly my character is very, very weak.
Yeah,
So it was a little tough to sort of work. But I did like the implementation of it, and pulling anything from the genius is a good idea. So
yeah.
yeah,
So we went into the tribe swap, and I thought that the tribe swap was really interesting for a lot of reasons because the tribes broke down. Basically, you and you and Taste were on one tribe, Jose and Elgen were on another, and then Sally. Hold on, let me think here. So then you had Sally and Bunny. Oh, excuse me, Sally and Toaster, and then you had Blaze and Drake on yours. So you had two people from your alliance, two of the unaligned floaters, and then you had three of the former beefs on each tribe. And it was kind of interesting to me how those tribes broke down because I was curious to see how you and Taste would, if you guys would try to pull in Drake and Blaze into like your little into your group and be like, look, the four of us have to vote together.
Top Ways, Drake and who was it? Chaos.
Chaos. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Yes, yes, yes.
which
Blake
we did do. Yeah,
with Drake and
we started
Chaos.
up we started up a foursome, for chat, and we did decide, that I think Chrism ultimately was going to be the boot when we had to go.
Yeah. Did so when you started that group of four, did that like help your relationship with Chaos and Drake, or did things just
Yeah.
sort of stay kind of the same after that?
So, I think one of my favorite relationships I had in this game was with Chaos because it's the one that changed the most from beginning to end. Because Chaos really started putting his foot on the gas, towards the end. I really loved it.
Oh
I
yeah.
loved everything he was doing towards the end. I'll get more into like the vote with him where he thought he had cobbled together some, strong initiative against Spokes. I still love that play so much. So it definitely did those form a tighter bond for us. And you look no further than the fact like Drake voted Taste for the win and Chaos voted me. We got close, and it definitely did give us something to rally behind. It was a really easy way to rally. It's us versus them. And I forgot how we exactly landed where we did. You have to remember too, like that was when we picked up Merc, which was a huge question mark for me. Like I didn't know how that was going to work. I didn't know if he was out for blood. I didn't know if he was down to
Mm-hmm.
play. And I didn't believe him at all at first when he's like, I don't care. Like I'll work with you. Like I wasn't sure what to make of that. So, but
Were
yeah,
you
it did end up solidifying things for us.
were you worried that either Chaos or Drake might try to I flip over
No,
to the Cheese Tribe?
to the beefs,
Oh,
like
to the
to
Beefs. Yeah,
them.
excuse me. Sorry.
I mean, no, and the reason for it was that at that point, I assumed that they were path of least resistance people. Like they hadn't shown me any initiative that they were willing to sort of like go and make a move like that. I think it would have been a decent shot, a decent time to do that to form some bonds. But if they weren't talking to me, and I prided myself in being available and a good conversation partner, so if they're not talking to me, why would they suddenly talk to these people?
Yeah,
And
that's
that was
fair.
pretty much where I lined up. And again, that is a little bit of arrogance on my part, but I just assume that like if you're not talking to me, why would you talk to anybody else? I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna ask you what you want. I'm literally paid for a living to talk to people and make them feel comfortable. I'm decent at this. So like, if you're not gonna talk to me, why are you talking to Merc? Like, why are you talking to Chrism? Why are you talking to these other people who you ostensibly don't know? Well, Chaos, that was the one thing is that Chaos had a prior relationship with Chris and Phoenix. That was somewhat concerning. But Chaos was like, that was also, by the way, where he did earn a lot of points for me because he stayed strong with me. That
Yeah,
was awesome.
yeah. I have gotten to know Chrism pretty well in the last like 7 or 8 months,
Mm,
and I definitely felt a little bad for them because I I understood like the joke that they were going for,
mm,
but what I explained to them was I said, look, like it's one thing to tell somebody like, ah ha ha, like Shane Powers, like where he's like, haha, I'm gonna kill you in your shitty apartment. And
Right.
like you get that, that Shane is not really gonna go kill Courtney in her shitty apartment, but like if Shane had said, hey, I'm gonna come into your apartment at 9 o'clock at night when I know you're not home, and I know exactly where I'm going to go to
Yeah.
buy the murder weapon, and I know how I'm going to ditch it. I said, that's when it starts to kind of cross from being a joke into being
Right.
like, whoa, what the fuck?
I mean,
And
look, the whole thing here is that, they have a relationship with people that I'm not aware of. I don't know what Kristen's relationship is with their roommate. I have no idea. So for all I know, this is a huge violation of privacy and it'll cause a big problem. I don't know any better because I don't know these people.
yeah,
Um, so, I felt super eked out by it. And look, we needed to vote. So it felt like a pretty convenient place to vote.
I think Chrism. I kind of talked to Chrism a bit afterwards because, like I said, we play Among Us pretty frequently with each
Mm,
other, and I feel like I've gotten to know Chrism pretty well. I think Chrism realized. I think Chrism like kind of understood why what happened, but I still think at the same time that they were a little bit like,
feel bad about it.
like
I'm not gonna lie. I still feel bad about it. Yeah.
and I don't think you should because like it was the depths to the planning that I think kind of made it, and I believe it even like kind of sketched out some people in the Vista too,
Hmm.
but like it didn't bother Cena because Cena had talked to Jivjov and Jivjov was like, look, I don't go anywhere without locking my computer. Like Chrism's not going to be able to get onto my computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I did understand why you guys were a little freaked out
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, and look, just being entirely clear here, I was not trying to capitalize on this for a vote. I really wasn't. Chrism was likely to go home regardless,
Hmm.
but I forgot who was the other beef. It was Chrism Phoenix and
I see. For some reason, I felt like Blaze was the one that was
it was
on the
Blaze. It was
chopping.
Blaze.
Yeah,
Right. So
for some reason I feel like that
yeah.
Blaze was the one that was on the chopping block, and
Blaze
then
was because Merc liked the idea of booting Blaze, and that could have brought Merc in. The issue there was that Taste had gone and made a promise to Blaze to look out for them should there be a
mhm.
problematic swap. And this, by the way, was where I began to worry a little bit about the way Taste was playing, because that is not something I would have done at all. I would not have made that promise. I think it's a good idea in principle to like begin a relationship with someone when you can, but that's a weird promise to make to a player that you don't know at all. You don't know what
Yeah,
their deal is. And by the way, we have the numbers now, and in the event of a swap, the really good odds are that you're in the majority, and now you have to like protect this minority entity for some reason. And when
hmm,
that happened, I was like, ooh, why did Chase do that?
yeah.
It didn't make sense to me. It felt like a move out of fear, and we had power, so we didn't need to be afraid.
By the
So
way, if you feel like we're yada yadaing through anything, please, if there's like something that you feel like I've skipped, if you want to just jump in and be like,
I'm very unlikely to remember it unless you point it out. So we'll probably miss something, and that's fine. But it is what it is.
so we had the Chrism vote when the beefs came to tribal and Elgin got voted out. Like,
Mhm.
how did you guys? Because I know that there was some posts in the thread where you were like, "Oh, we understand." Like, what was kind of what did you and how did you and Taste kind of feel about all that? Were you like, "Oh God, we're fucked," or was it just like, "Okay, well that's one we can afford"?
Yeah, it sucked that it was Elgen, because I was working with Elgen. I would have preferred if it was gonna be one of them, then that'd be someone else. I had no idea why or how it happened, but our best theory was that it was some kind of advantage gone wrong, which I don't think was the case. I think Sally just decided to do what Sally did,
So
which I'm still eager to learn about what the fuck that was, because it
okay,
still makes no sense to me.
so so I guess this will be kind of like real time information for you.
Yeah, seriously, go ahead.
Spokes had a vote eraser
Uh,
advantage, as well as a double vote advantage.
Jeez, where were those? What did he? What did he get those? How did he do that?
I do not. I apologize. I do not
That's
remember
okay. No, it's
how he
fine.
actually got those.
I'll figure this out later. But that's good on
So
him.
so at that vote, Spokes used, or excuse me, I'm sorry. Jose had the vote eraser. Excuse
All
me.
right, he got that from the cheese board,
Yes.
and
I'm
then
sorry.
yeah,
I
Spokes. There was
misspoke.
like
I
another. There was
misspoke.
another food plate or something that
Yeah.
Spokes also
I
got. That's what
misspoke.
it was.
I misspoke. I'm
Okay,
sorry. So
no problem.
Jose used the vote eraser on Spokes,
Hmm.
which made it a 3-3, which made it a 3-3 tie between Elgen and Spokes. And
Right.
then on the
They went to a
revote,
tiebreak.
yeah, on the revote, since Spokes and Elgen couldn't vote, the vote ended up going to Elgen.
Hmm.
So it
Which
was,
sucked.
yeah,
I hated
that
it.
sucked. But that was a fun. That was like a fun. That was a real exciting moment for the Vista because we were like, oh my god, like somebody's fighting back against the unstoppable cheese alliance, and Sally's whole thing was like, I just wanted to have a little fun. Like when I talked to Sally, I
Yeah.
specifically asked them about this, and I was like, why did you decide to flip when really the safest thing to do would have just been to stay with Cheese Strong? And Sally was just like, I just wanted to have fun.
I mean,
Like,
Sally was throwing coins around like Robin Hood at the auction. It became very clear that Sally was in this for awesome reasons, just reasons that don't make sense to me.
Sally, my
But yeah,
conversation with Sally, it was kind of, you know how you know how I was saying that kind of your view of people was if they weren't playing with you, they weren't playing. I guess that had kind of rubbed off on me a little bit because I just assumed that Sally was just not really like dialed into what was going on. And when I interviewed Sally, Sally was incredibly dialed into
huh.
everything.
I believe it. I believe it. I guess my thing is like I either didn't crack the code to find a way to build some kind of conversation with Sally where I was made privy to that, or for whatever reason Sally just wanted to do antics and not engage socially. One of those two things is true. I don't know which. But I will say of the like I did enjoy my conversations with Sally. For a while I had Sally kind of up here as far as like of the floaters, who do I want to work with? And Sally was usually up there. But yeah, it's becoming more clear to me that Sally, especially, I think had my favorite final tribal questions.
Oh man,
Sally was a like a totally fun entity to have in this game, and I wish that I had somehow, I wish that we connected more because that would have been fun.
yeah, I really enjoyed. I was really sad when Sally got voted out because I felt that Sally was a really positive force in the game, and if anybody was going to kind of
Hmm.
mount any sort of resistance, I felt it was going to
Yeah,
be some combo of like Sally, Bunny, and Haschel were going to be the three that could kind of like work
yeah.
together.
No, if you wanted to see me fall down a peg or two, that very well could have been because of something Sally got up to, and I
Yeah.
got nothing but good to say about that.
And again, like I didn't necessarily want to see you get voted out, but I just wanted to see like a
Sure.
vote not go your way for.
No, I get it. I like that's when the character emerges, right? That's when you like, the best episode, one of the best ones ever of Survivor was when the extortion episode for Tony.
Oh
Like
yes,
he got every bad thing in the world that could happen to him, and he had to scramble, and it made for a great fucking episode. And I
where
get
just
it. Like
if I
yeah,
remember correctly, he had to like go borrow fire
he had
coins
to
to
buy
fight.
her fire tokens from the people that he was going to like turn against that episode, and
Yes,
it was
that's
it
right.
was amazing. And like I would have loved to have been challenged. In retrospect, in the moment, I would have hated it, but it would have made for good Survivor.
Yeah. So then we had. So okay. So let's see here. So then we had. What was the other? What was the challenge after that? Oh, the chess
Uh,
challenge.
yeah,
Did you talk to Sally at all during the chess challenge? Because I know that
a
you
little
guys
bit.
played each other.
Yeah, it only occurred to me at the end, like, oh, we can talk. And I believe Sally was as straightforward as Sally can be. I think the answer that I got is so like, what happened? What did Sally say? I think I got the like I got the crazy answer, which was I wanted to cut some cheese loose so that we could be strong later. Because if I didn't, we would turn on each other, which it nearly broke my brain. Like if Sally wanted to screw me up, they should have told me that before the chess game because my brain would have just like gone around in circles and like shat itself. It made no
Yeah.
sense to me, but it was amusing. This idea that like in order to keep us strong, let's cut some of us. By the way, let's also cut like the best player here who's like engaging with other. It made no sense to me at all.
I actually pulled up the challenge room, so it was so you said, "What the hell is going on over there? What
Yeah.
happened last night? Was it an advantage, or did someone play? Do you have any intel?" Sally said, "No fucking clue. The
Okay, so
vote
it was
was there,
later.
but that was the vote was there, but was not there, but was not there was me." And then said that I have no clue what happened at the second vote. My vote
Uh,
didn't get played.
Sally was just lying their ass off at
Yeah,
that point. Okay, that's
and then
fine.
and
At
then
some point,
Sally
the explanation I got was different.
that explanation was after the merge. 'Cause
Yeah,
that was like when you brought
that
I
makes
think that
sense.
was when you brought everybody back together. Yeah, and
Mhm.
then I'm just laughing like Sally just sort of like bullshitting away. It's very funny. Anyways,
Yeah.
so we had the chess challenge, then we had the merge, and I am so stinking excited to talk about this merge. So let's see. So we merged at 11, and there
hmm
was what I think there was six cheeses, five
Six
beefs.
five. I think it was
Yeah,
six.
I think it
Wait,
was pretty. I'm pretty sure it was
we
six.
lost Elgen. Did we lose another one?
BLT
That's right. That's right. We
toaster.
lost BLT.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Who
six five.
coincidentally self voted that vote. I don't know if you are aware of that.
I wasn't aware of that. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry, Toaster. I don't know why or what caused that to happen. I
Jose
hope you
voted.
enjoyed this game.
Jose voted for spokes, and
Okay.
then Hashel spokes. Hashel spokes, Bunny, Sally, and Toaster all voted for Toaster.
Okay. See, the only reason why I feel bad about that is that Taste felt awful for Toaster. He was really heartbroken about Toaster. He had this idea that she was a super, just loyal, nice person, and that this totally, oh no. I didn't know that was the case.
There was a
Okay.
lot of. I'm just gonna throw this out there. There was one, two. There was like at least three, if not four, self votes.
I'm inclined to ask like what happened there, but generally I'm thinking that those people, whoever they are, may not have
So
been like enjoying themselves, and
yeah,
I
so
don't know.
Denaru self voted,
Right.
which obviously made sense.
Yeah.
Toaster self voted. Chaos self voted.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, Chaos knew the writing was on the wall. That's explainable.
We're gonna get there. I was a little
Oh
pissed
yeah.
about. I was a little pissed that he didn't even take a shot at someone. Like, I mean, I know that
Yeah.
his vote. I know that
Yeah.
ultimately his vote didn't matter, and
But
the
leading up to that, you think there was something he could and he look, Chaos could have come after me. He
seven
had the numbers.
at seven, I think was the last time. Seven was the last time that anything could have happened in this game. I
Mm.
think.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay, so we had the auction, and the auction was really fun. And I know that for you, you were a little annoyed with
Yeah.
your fellow players at the auction. So you got the immunity.
Yeah, and I walked away the victor in that one
Yes.
for pretty much random chance, but I did walk away the victor.
Coincidentally, that was what I won at the auction.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I thought that was like a fun little symmetry. Was that I got
Yeah,
my only immunity win was the auction.
through theft. Did you steal your immunity win, or did you win it legitimately and not like a dirty bastard?
Oh no, I had the triple box thing
Yeah. And
like
you didn't switch. You went
yeah, I
against
didn't
Monty
right,
Hall.
I
That's
didn't
right.
switch, and then initially they said that I had won the immunity that I could give to another person.
hmm
And then Cena was like, "Oh no, wait, we screwed that up. You actually had the immunity for yourself." And I was like, "Yes, I won an
hmm
immunity. Yes." Like pat myself
Yeah.
on the back there. Oh, coincidentally, that was your only immunity win too. So look at that,
Right.
like
Yeah.
perfect symmetry.
Indeed. Yeah.
So that was so. I know that you were a little upset after with the cheeses after that. Like, what happened there?
You know, we knew that it was tight. That look, this vote is going to matter a whole lot. If one beef goes home, we now have wiggle room. You know, we can then, if we want to get creative and cut a cheese, cut a cheese. If we want to get creative and boot a cheese, we can. But let's get rid of one first, so we at least have the numbers, which meant that like everything matters, right? So the big issue I had, and when I threw a huge temper tantrum in my confessional, which I'm not necessarily proud of, but happened, was when so Haschel bid on. I couldn't believe that that happened. By the way, Haschel, like Mr. Survivor, he bid on a physical prize, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? There's a clearly advantages left. Why are you throwing away your max bid? But thank you for doing that. Like, but you so need the advantage right now. You're one down. And then I was like, great, we're set. And then Drake came in with the bid a little bit higher and outbid Haschel. And then Haschel didn't bid again. And sure enough, he then was able to use a max bid on the very advantage that I wanted. And yeah, I was a little bit pissed because to me, I didn't sense that Drake was super bought into the game, but like at least don't get in my way. And I felt
Hmm.
like Drake got in my way. But Drake didn't get in my way. What Drake actually did was bid on a fun prize in an online forum game because she wanted it.
Hmm.
And that's cool. Like there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah,
And I needed to shut the fuck up. So
and
I'm glad that I didn't make us think about it publicly and just bitched in my confessional. But yeah, that's what ultimately happened.
like I sort of can understand that because I remember going into the auction last year too, like the Scum 4, and we were like, we are only gonna bid, we only want to bid on advantages,
Yeah.
on advantages for the game. And then Boogie got the seat at the table just like
Mhm.
Bunny did. And so when Bunny got the seat at the table, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, is Bunny going to be able to do, like if Bunny wins
Hmm.
the immunity idol that he can give to somebody else, like who's Bunny going to give it to? Like, are they going to give it to Sally? Like, is this going to screw things up? Like, very interested in seeing what's going to happen here. Did you get a chance, by the way, just to stroke my own ego, did you get a chance to see the winner's advice video?
Um, I did. Yeah. Which was you talking over a still picture of Sandra, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I spent like days like working on that video, and at first I had like this thing where I was like, look at like my palatial estate, like I this is all mine from winning Survivor, and
Right.
I had all this stuff, and then I was like, holy fuck, wait, I've got that video of Sandra from last year. Did you ever see the video from
Yeah,
Sandra?
yeah. It
Okay,
was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my god, I've got that fucking video. And I was like, oh my god, I'll just put a still of her face on there, and then I'll just talk over it so people will be like, oh my god, it's a message from Sandra. But no,
Hmm.
it's really not. So I was very proud of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so here we are. The merge. The merge vote.
Hmm.
Okay, so I do you want me just to tell you what happened, or do you?
So let me catch up with what I knew. The
Okay.
plan was to go for Bunny from the jump. I think at least the plan that I had a knowledge of was we were going to vote for Bunny as cheese. Probably all of us. That was what I thought was happening going into it. So go ahead and disillusion me. What
Okay.
what was actually going on?
I mean, the bunny vote was pretty much kind of
Oh,
what.
minus Sally plus right, because Sally wasn't going to vote Bunny, and we knew
Yeah.
that. So who did we pick up? I think we thought we had one more who was going to do that with us, and it might have been
Okay.
Merc.
So I'll just
Yeah, it was
tell you
Merc.
who voted Sally initially. So
Hmm.
on the first vote, it was you, Jose, Taste, Merc, and Blaze that all voted Sally.
Hmm.
So you were the five Sally votes, and then Chaos, or excuse me, Drake, Chaos, Sally, Bunny, and Blaze were the three Merc votes. And then Haschel was that lone, that, that
Drake.
weird vote for
Yeah.
Drake. That
Yeah,
was
I knew that was
Haschel.
Haschel. Yeah.
So here's what is interesting is had the votes stayed the same, on the revote, Merck should have gone home. Inexplicably, and I don't know why because I haven't had a chance to do the interview with her yet, Drake flipped her vote from Merck to Sally. And
I
then,
mean, I think I do know why. Drake is, at least I know the explanation.
oh, what was, I'd be interested to
So
hear.
as far as I can recall, could be wrong about this. Um, Drake flipped because remember there was chaos. Like we all thought we were voting for Bunny, and we didn't have any time to reorganize. But Haschel pulled his crazy Haschel shit and put the necklace on Bunny. So I think the thinking there was, okay, well now we got to shift, and we all kind of knew that Sally was supposed to be the next vote. So without any communication, we said, okay, let's do Sally. And I was proud that like there was enough people who figured that out. Like it was amazing that somehow they
Yeah, I
knew.
thought so
But
too.
Drake's guess, I think, was like, okay, well, someone who else, and she went for Merck. But I think once she saw that, oh, my whole team is going for Sally, then it was an obvious choice. That makes sense.
Okay, that actually makes a ton of sense because I think a lot of us in the Vista were confused, like why she flipped her vote at the
Yeah,
last minute.
I think that's what happened. And again, you have to ask Drake, but my understanding at the moment was like she didn't know who to vote, like because she wasn't as plugged into those conversations. She might not have known that Sally's next, so that's who we should go for now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that had Haschel voted with the rest of his alliance correctly, we probably would have seen Merck. Yeah, we would have seen Merck go, which would have left Sally in the game, which I think could have been pretty
It was
interesting.
funny, and yeah, like because yeah, if he had voted with his alliance, then there's a tie, and then Drake realized where we all voted and probably. Oh no, I guess I don't know what happens actually. It's a tough thing to speculate on. I don't know. I'm not sure how that one flips.
Oh, right, yeah,
Because
because
once there's a
then.
tie, like what is it that Drake does? I
Well,
don't know
no,
what
no,
Drake
what I'm
does.
saying is that on the initial vote, had Haschel voted with the rest of his alliance, it would have been a 6-5 for Merck.
Oh right. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, Merc goes, and the whole game is very fundamentally different.
Yes,
That's the cool part about Survivor, man. You change one small thing and the whole game just goes totally differently.
that was something that a lot of people mentioned was how like that merge vote just really set the tone for the
Hmm.
rest of the game. I thought that merge vote was incredibly exciting to watch, and
Good.
yeah, we were pretty excited about it. And then then the next challenge I think was the puzzle challenge, right?
The Jigsaw one?
Yes, because
Yeah, that would
Jose,
make sense.
yeah,
Because
because
the guys won the advantages, yeah.
yeah. So here, this vote I thought was interesting too, because this is where Spokes used his double vote. He
Okay.
to put two votes on Bunny, and I was surprised because there was a total of 11 votes cast, and I don't remember. Like obviously, I don't remember how many were read. Oh, but they probably didn't read all 11. So okay, that was why nobody was able to
Mhm.
figure out that Spokes had used his advantage. Okay, that
Right.
now that I'm
So
talking it,
Spokes did not anymore have that double vote because that was one of the reasons why I wanted Spokes to go, is we were worried about that double vote.
yeah. Spokes used that at
Okay, so this is a question possibly for later. Haschel was under the impression, or at least told me when Spokes left. Okay, so I'm curious. Okay, so I never necessarily fully believed any shit that Haschel said, because of why would I? But what he told me was that Spokes did have the double vote.
well, that's what
Um,
Spokes was saying.
so Spokes lied to Haschel. So
Yes,
Haschel was telling me the truth as he
yes,
saw it.
yes,
Okay.
100%.
Why would you lie about, like you're such a liability if you have a double vote?
I what I couldn't figure out was that Spokes and Haschel were making plans to flip under the assumption
That the
that
double vote was there?
that the double vote was there, and I was just like, what, why, like, what the fuck, man? I
That's
believe, I
that's
believe,
fascinating.
I believe that I asked Spokes about that, like why he lied to Haschel about having a double vote, and I cannot remember what
No,
he said.
Spokes has some moxie in them clearly, and I appreciate it. I don't know what the reason is, but there's probably a reason, and it's probably funny.
The Kong hoarding stuff. So we did kind of yada yada through that. But which vote was it where somebody had told you, "I'll vote with you if you tell me who the Kong hoarder was"?
No, no, no. It wasn't that. It was I think it was like at the Mersh, and I asked Chaos, "Hey, so what are you thinking about your vote?" And like, "What are you thinking about this?" He goes, "I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out this whole Kong situation." And at that point, for me, the word Kong became just a trigger to make me burst into hysterics wherever I was. It became. I mean, I hope that that was as much of a running joke in the Vista as it was in the
Oh,
game,
yes,
because holy shit, that was Merc and his fucking Kongs just sitting in the corner playing with monkeys for the whole game
it was
is
very
just
funny.
so funny to me. So
Well, the thing that was funniest to me about the whole thing, and the reason I'll just tell you, I voted Spokes for fan favorite mostly
mhm.
because I was pretty sure you were gonna win. So,
It's you vote for whoever you want, man. It's okay.
but Spokes hoarding the Kongs, but then having the fucking balls to be like, well, I don't know who the fucking Kong hoarder is, but he's a real piece of shit. Oh my god, that it made me laugh. Like any time that Spokes talked about Kongs,
Yeah.
it made me fucking laugh so hard. I really enjoyed talking to when Spokes and I talked. It was we had a really fun conversation. He's a
Hmm.
really interesting dude.
Yeah. I don't doubt it.
Yeah. So then we had. Okay. So yeah. So then Spokes, for whatever reason, inexplicably just used their double vote. So we had. So then Bunny got bounced with a 9-2.
Right.
The vote after that, or the game after that, I believe was. Oh, Frog Drop.
Mhm.
Now, here's a question that I had for you because it wasn't very clear to me. Had your alliance talked ahead of time about, like, these are people that we want to target? These are people that we want to leave to the end? Because I know last season,
Are you talking
like,
specifically in the context of that game?
yes, because I know
Okay.
that like last season, like I was like, look, and I was talking to Scum for it, and I said, look, I think we need to let MMT win this game. I think we need to let her have immunity so that she knows that we value her. Like, so we need to let her win, and was more or less Kupo tried to get Kupo was trying to win too, but was there any sort of like coordination on who you were going to chop ahead of time, or did you? Because to
Yeah.
me, to the viewers, it looked like you guys were just playing it by ear.
There you go. That was
Yeah.
it. I think that was either shortly before or after I posted the video of I'm done trying to herd cats. And I coordinating up until then had felt largely impossible coordinating around this game. You have to remember this is like shortly after the auction where I'm like, what are people doing? I think ultimately it was like pretty much agreed upon like we were just gonna RNG things or at least claim that we were um the oh well we okay here is the only coordination that did happen is that Hashel like Taste was at that point, by the way, Taste had totally gone seeing red on Hashel, and Hashel's got to go, so the only thing that we knew was that we need to take immunity out of Hashel's hands. And that if that didn't happen, I think Taste was not going to be happy. So, and rightfully so, he wanted him as a target. So that was kind of the only agenda that we had is let's make sure Haschel doesn't win this, so we can at least consider him as a target.
Okay.
That was about it. Apart from that, it really was pretty much just as chaotic as it looked. It was really tough to and that was the one where I screwed up so bad at the end where
Yeah.
it was just a total miscalculation. I just was not thinking, and
I,
I
I'm
yeah,
glad that you brought that up because I actually did want to talk about that because there was like some speculation on if you
nothing.
were throwing to Merc.
Nope, nope. I was just dumb. I've said it in the confession. I'll say it here. It was just me being stupid and cutting the wrong. I wanted to win that. I want to win every challenge I was in, and I didn't win any of them. I'd argue that fire counts for something. I did win
Uh,
fire. That is the most important challenge, and I won it. So that's something. But I wanted to win that challenge just like I wanted to win all of them, and
okay.
I didn't. I just totally had a brain fart and handed it to Merc.
I
which
mean,
may not have been a
that's
bad thing for me. It might have ended up being pretty good because I didn't need immunity and it made Merc really happy. So that's something.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it was. I think if it was on purpose, or if it had, or if it was something that you had done on purpose, or if it was an accident, I don't think it hurt you either
It
way.
didn't. It just hurt my ego. That's it. I wanted to win. And that was like my whole philosophy of this whole game. It's like I don't take for granted that I'm gonna be here tomorrow. So let's try to win the challenge tonight. I want to win this. I don't want to go home without having, gotten the immunity necklace. Like I don't know if I'll survive, so I'm gonna win. I want to play the games.
Hmm.
If there was if it was a very different season, if it was Scum versus Town, and there were plans that we needed to live and die by, sure, I'll play ball. I'll do the whole let's give it to the fifth person so they can feel valued by the four. That makes sense, but that wasn't the season I was playing.
Yeah.
It just
Oh,
wasn't the season.
and I'm not saying that our view was right or wrong, or the
Sure, but
or
it's okay. It's okay to strategize around those things. It just for the game that I was in, it didn't feel necessary. It felt like I may as well just try to win. That
mhm,
felt like more fun to me and more interesting. So that's
yeah.
what I mostly shot for.
What was the challenge after Coconut Chop? Do you remember?
If I look for it, let me see. It was Frog Drop, and then I think we had the Kong Hunt. Was it Kong Hunt?
Oh yeah, because that was the one that Haschel won.
Did he? Oh yeah, because he won in sudden death or something. He won in.
Uh,
I'm
Hold on.
pulling it up on my thing. Hold on. I can't do it on my computer because I'm on Twitch, and I don't want to upset the two people who are probably watching it. But yeah,
I'm one of the
It was Revenge of Kong next.
yeah. So you were driving me fucking crazy in this challenge, because I was
I
watching you.
hated this challenge.
I
I
know you
hated
did.
it. I really hated it. So I'm sorry if I drove you crazy. I was not
No,
a happy guy.
the reason that you drove me crazy is because you didn't filter by just Cena's posts.
I did, and then I didn't. I kept on forgetting. I did it first.
Oh, okay.
The big issue that I did was I forgot that when you edit a post, it's not this person is edited, it's they fucked around with it.
Yes. Yeah.
So I kept on searching for like edits and like there's no edits and like no idiot, it goes by fucked around. Look, this post when the challenge here's here's how you want to fuck me up in the challenge. If reading the rules is in the time, I get very frazzled and I
Yes.
don't read anything.
Yes.
And that I will I take exception. I need to be able to read the rules, ask questions, get settled, go. When those challenges came out, I understand that you kind of need to do them that way in order, but like that's why those challenges really don't work for me. I gotta know what the rules are, and if I
Yeah.
can't, like it was really tough. So I got immediately frazzled, and I was not thinking clearly.
Do you
Um,
do you remember the word search challenge that we had last season?
that might have been right after my boot. I
It
think it
was it was
was.
in the merge, but like so we had a word search, and we had a
Mhm.
bank of like 9 words, but there was actually like a total of like 20 some odd words in there. And so the idea was that you would get your 9, and then you would get a point for every word that you found over 9. And it was
Mhm.
a similar deal where Cena just like posted the puzzle and was like, go. So I see like a word search, and I see a letter bank, and I'm like, oh, I'm just looking for these fucking 9 words. And so I'm going through and I just like bang out these 9 words and I post in the thread, and I'm like, I win, I'm the greatest. And Cena's like,
Right. Yeah.
dipshit, read the rules. And I was
So
like,
there's a
oh,
key
fuck.
word. Jeff Probst says it every episode. I'll give you a minute to strategize. That's really important to me. I need that
Yeah.
minute to strategize before the challenge starts. If I don't have that, I freak out. I'm already a hot mess during these challenges, and I've got my cat to deal with, and like I'm a ball of nerves. So like I need that minute to strategize.
I will tell you, Butterscotch became a fan favorite.
I'm sure he did. Everyone loves him. He's horrible.
Anytime Butterscotch would be on stream, or would like mess with you, people would just be like, "Oh, I see Butterscotch. I see Butterscotch."
Hmm.
There'd
Yep.
be cat emojis in the chat room. It was very fucking funny.
I'm sure.
Uh, s-
Everyone loved butterscotch.
yeah. So then I think after that one was when we had knockout questions, right?
And yeah, well, who was the boot on that?
Oh, that
Was that
was
Spokes?
that was Spokes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
Spokes. Yeah.
and that one was largely uneventful because pretty
Mhm.
much the
Well,
writing.
Haschel was blindsided. He thought that was the only drama there is that Haschel did think that it wasn't going to be Spokes. Haschel, I believe, thought it was going to be Blaziken.
Hold on a
think.
minute. Hold
I
on a minute
think there were
here.
2 votes on Blaze.
Oh, excuse me. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm
Was it
sorry.
not Spokes there?
It was not Spokes. It was Blaziken. Excuse me.
Okay.
No. Well, so Blaziken had gone out the try. We kind of skipped. We kind of yada yada
Okay.
Blaziken's. So Blaziken went out the night that Merc won immunity
Chess.
from
Not chess.
no from
Uh, Frog drop. Frog
Frog
drop.
Drop. Yes, and that was a 6. That was a 6-3. Yeah, and I guess Hashel had voted. There was 3 votes for Hashel, and it was Bunny,
No,
Chaos.
Bunny was gone already.
Wait, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ,
It's okay.
Blaze. Sorry, Cena's chart is like absurdly difficult for me to
Yeah, I don't know
read.
how to read those. It didn't make sense to me. I'm sure it makes sense to the people who matter, but it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense to me.
it's a little difficult for me to read. So it was, yeah. So Blaziken voted for Hashel, and then Chaos voted for Hashel, and then Taste voted for
Taste.
Hashel.
Taste. Yeah. Anytime there's a question on who voted for Hash, guess taste first.
So was that the one where where Taste?
That was actually yeah, there was some drama there because I blindsided taste.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Did you know that Taste was kind of trying to work something in the back, or
Hmm. Yeah, no, I knew that Taste thought he might have numbers to cut Haschel there. The 2 people who I think he thought he had that he didn't were Spokes and myself. If he had us, he had the vote. Um, he fortunately kept me in his good graces following that, but that burned his bridge with Spokes too, which I'm not upset about. The fact that he really no longer trusted Spokes made it much more easy for me to maneuver after that as well.
yeah? I'm sorry that we kind of yada yada through that
No,
tribal
it's
because
okay.
that actually was like a pretty interesting. That was like a pretty interesting
It was
day
a
leading up to
yeah,
that, where it was
it was a
like,
turning point for us in the game for sure. Because I did, I never promised taste one way or the other, but I was pretty certain that my vote was going to be on Blaziken and not Haschel there.
yeah,
It felt pretty important.
I felt like this was the first time that I really saw friction between you
Yep.
and Taste, and it when that happened, I remember thinking like, oh well, like what's gonna happen here is like Taste gonna line up his army and Chili gonna line up his army, and the 2 former
Yeah.
friends are gonna like take shots at each other, or like what's
So
gonna
two
happen
things, yeah,
here.
a bunch of things were competing for interest and attention there. There was this narrative that the LP crew was still kind of out there, and that wasn't real, but it was something that people used. But the other one, and a lot of people were saying it, well, by a lot, I mean Haschel, Jose, and Merck were like, "Oh, Taste is Boston robbing these people. He's just gonna like get these Let's Play unaffiliated floater folks and just march them to the end, and then win the game on their backs." I knew with nearly 100% certainty that that was total bullshit. That was not what Taste was doing. I think they all thought that, but there was this perception within the 4, the Mafia 4, that that's what Taste was doing. He was kind of defecting on the 4. My path to the Final Four and what I wanted was the Mafia Final Four. I wanted that. I didn't expect that that it would ultimately be the best option for me, and I was right. They
Hmm.
did go after me, and good for them. But I like the idea of the 4 of us sitting there because I really like the idea of like the win coming from there. So I did what I had to keep the 4 together, and in that vote, it felt like leaving Haschel on the table made a lot more sense because if I didn't do that, I thought we lose Jose.
Yeah,
I thought Jose just defects on us and we lose that, which probably isn't true because I just counted how close Merck and Jose were. I had no idea. I knew they were close. I didn't know that they were final 2. So
yeah. I'll be honest, and there was a lot going on, and so sometimes it was a little challenging to follow like who's close with who.
for sure.
But I was a little surprised too at like how close Jose and Merck were
Mhm.
ultimately.
That was the thing that I should have realized that I didn't. And if anything was going to come and get me in this game, it was that. And it may look like I didn't know a lot of things that were happening. I just happened to get lucky in a lot of places, and it generally seemed to make sense for my interests to line up with others. But that, again, had a lot to do with luck. And I
Yeah,
don't think you really find too many Survivor victories that don't have like luck as an ingredient, and it was definitely there. It just so happened that things kind of lined up. I'm still proud of my game, but there was luck there.
Yeah. I mean, your game that you played was exactly the game that I wanted to play, where it was just going to be like, do you mind giving me like
No, go
one
ahead.
minute? I've got my asshole cat that wants me to feed him, and he's going to sit
Yeah,
here
go
and meow
go
until
feed the
I.
cat. Should I do anything? Should I push anything?
No, no, no,
Just
you're
leave
fine.
it?
We can just. I'll
Okay.
I'll edit this out in post.
Okay, cool. Nice. And you actually mean that when you say that.
Come on,
Those
dipshits.
people, when they say they're going to fiction and prose, they have no idea what they're talking about. There we go.
Okay. Um. So I know we haven't really been talking about the Mafia 4 very much.
Hmm.
How did the Mafia 4 come together? Because I mean, you guys were like a very dominant force in that game. Like I said, your game that you played was how I wanted. Like I wanted the 4, I wanted the Scum 4, I wanted to
Hmm.
control every vote.
So you've got an interesting dynamic here. I wouldn't say we were as dominant as we were because we ultimately were very fragile. Um, how I sort of see it is we've got me and Merck believed very strongly in the Mafia 4, the concept of it, the idea behind it, of us marching forward. Then you've got me and Merck are here. Up here, you've got Taste, who's with me, but he's outside of the circle of the Mafia 4. And over here, you've got Merck and you've got Jose over here, and he's outside of the Mafia 4. Merck and I together were clutching our number twos and trying to bring them closer into the Mafia
Hmm.
for what felt like the whole game. And then beyond that, so with Taste outside of his circle were all of the LP folks. You got Drake, you got Blaziken, the people who are a little bit more under the radar. And he was like sort of flirting with the idea of working with them. Then over
Hmm.
here, you've got Jose, and his person was Hashel, who was very present and very active. So you have a nucleus of me and Merck, but then as you sort of spread out, there are all these other competing interests. And I'm really happy that the 4 did indeed prevail. Like that was
Yeah.
ultimately what I wanted, but make no mistake, we did not like proudly march like yellow brick road style, like together, the 4 of us.
Oh,
It was a bitch keeping it that way.
no, I definitely could tell there were times that you were really that the group in general was like really struggling
Yeah.
to stay together. So yeah, I
Mhm.
definitely can understand that.
Yeah, the
Um,
issue with that vote with Taste was that to me, my I wanted to march forward with these people. And he had done a really good job of connecting with these other people who I couldn't find a way to connect with. And he wanted me to sort of go and get Hashel, which to me explodes the 4. And now I have to go to where he's more comfortable with these other unaffiliated people. So to me, it was one of us had to win there. Either I cut Hashel, Jose goes, fuck this, leaves the 4, and now I have to find a new home. And that home is with Taste and all these other people that I can't relate to at all. Or we cut out someone from his numbers, Jose's happy, and instead of Taste leaving, hopefully he believes in our relationship strong enough that he comes with me back into the 4. That was
yeah.
what my calculated risk was kind of about. I had a huge belief in keeping this 4 together because they all talked to me and I could work with them. I just
Hmm.
didn't know how to connect to these other people that he was somehow connecting with.
It. I mean, that did come across. That did come across a bit to the viewers, where it was like, we could tell that there were times where it just seemed like you guys were like one vote away from totally imploding. But it
Mhm.
seemed like that. Do you watch Big Brother at all?
I don't. It's a missing gap for me. I'm a survivor
Okay.
boy. That's what I like.
There's and there's a guy that his name is Paul, and Paul is kind of controversial because he's made it to the finals twice and has totally bombed the finals like both times. Mainly his the reason that he has bombed is because he has this way of like turning his alliance on a specific person, and usually it's like through bullying, which I just want to be clear, I'm not saying that's at all like what you guys did, but I thought
Mhm.
one of the things that was really that you and Taste were able to do incredibly effectively was just like paint targets like, hey, Chaos has won a bunch of immunities.
Hmm.
Like we've got to think about like taking out chaos. Oh, Haschel is a really smart player. Like we gotta take out Haschel. Like, oh, Spokes has the advantage. Like we got to get rid of Spokes. And I thought that the way that you guys were able to kind of paint your targets was really good because it helped invest the other people in your alliance. Like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, oh yeah, Chaos, who has only one individual immunity, is like a total comp threat. Like, man, boy, I mean, like Chaos. Sorry, two individual immunities because they won
Yeah.
Predator Prey. But I mean, still, you were like, hey, Chaos is a comp piece. Like, we've got to get rid of him.
We knew that, if the plan was to sort of whittle down from there, that Drake was less likely to win than Chaos. That's really all we thought. But it was effective. It was
Well, I
the net
mean,
was
just
still,
I was using chaos specifically, but I just think in general, like I thought you guys did a really good job of painting your targets and
yeah. Well,
and
like the
getting your alliance to
Spokes
buy
being a
in.
boogeyman because of like the double vote was also a really big thing. Like, he's got this double vote thing, and Haskell, I would argue, he didn't really work out because we didn't get Jose to do it. Jose stayed true to Haschel. Which I think, and I could be off about this, might have cost him the actual game.
What do you mean?
I think if Jose votes out Haschel in that spot instead of voting with him for seemingly, I don't know why. I mean, Jose knew Haschel was going, but instead of voting him out, he voted with Haschel on,
Drake. Okay.
was it Drake?
Yeah.
Knowing Haschel, I thought if he makes it to the end, Haschel's not going to have any respect for that at all. I think he just like, why would he vote there? It's throwing away his vote, be with the numbers. And I didn't think, I thought it was a weird move and it made no sense to me. But, Jose voted how he voted. I don't know what the explanation for that was. It didn't make sense to me, though.
Yeah. We kind of jumped ahead just a little bit, but so we had the Spokes vote. Spokes was that one was pretty straightforward, a 6-2.
Hmm.
So then we got to seven, and I thought seven was really interesting because seven, I think, was, and I'm sure Haschel would agree, seven was the last time that anything could happen. I felt like the
Yeah.
merge and seven were really the two break points, and I felt like that if you guys got through at seven, then the four of you were pretty much like gonna make it to the end. So Chaos won immunity. I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what the challenge was. So Haschel won Kong's. Oh, was Chaos? I think that was the speed questions.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the
it
speed.
was.
Yeah, it was the speed questions. Okay, so yeah,
Hmm.
so Chaos wins immunity. I mean, not that Chaos really needed to win immunity. I'll be honest, like most of the Vista
Uh,
was cheering for Haschel. Like
oh, yeah.
we
No,
wanted
for
Hash.
sure.
We really
I
wanted.
look for, I mean, I certainly didn't, but at that point, from a viewer perspective, you want Haschel to win that
Yeah.
one. And look, okay, so here's Chaos winning there. It's so unfortunate that he didn't get motivated to do something bold when he had the necklace. That like I should have gone home that vote or taste. One of us should have gone. Because all chaos. I mean, he just didn't have any and this is he didn't have a reason to do it. I don't know if he saw what the path was moving forward, but he definitely could have gotten Haschel himself, Merc and Jose, and targeted any of the other three, and it wasn't going to be Drake. It was going to be me or Taste.
Yeah.
That was really possible. Now I don't know if it's not so much Chaos's failing to not notice that. I'm wondering how did it not work? How did someone not make the right appeal to convince him? Did
Okay.
anyone try?
So so
I mean,
Haschel.
Haschel tried for Taste. That was his big thing.
Well, no, no. So Haschel also had started a chat with Drake and Chaos, and basically the gist of it was like, look, if you guys don't do something here, this is the last chance that we have to do something. If we if we don't do something here, like I'm going out at 7, you're going out at 6, you're going out at 5. And
He was right.
I don't know if you remember, but this was the tribal council that I ran.
Hmm. Yep.
And I was like, I kind of had talked to Haschel about this a little bit. I kept wanting Haschel to just say, like, who the fuck he was going to vote for. Like, I'm voting for Merc. Like, if you want to vote with me, my vote's going to Merck. And like, however you guys want to handle that is up to you. And just sort of laying it out there. And then I also asked Chaos the question like, the person who has immunity has a certain amount of power. Like, how have you chosen to wield that power tonight?
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping that, like, obviously, I wasn't like trying to impact the game or like,
Sure,
or
sure.
like switch, try to
It's
like.
a tough line to walk. I don't know how I would do that, honestly.
I
That job
had
makes me nervous.
I had 7 minutes to prepare for tribal to run tribal
Nice.
council.
Well,
So
that's how you do it, by not giving yourself enough of a chance to get worried about it.
yeah, but I was really trying to like. In fact, I mentioned this to Haschel in our interview. I almost just said, Haschel, who the fuck are you voting for? Like, put the appeal out there. And I do think that there was like a weird outside path that maybe like if I think that maybe if Haschel had pulled Jose in and maybe targeted somebody other than Merck, that maybe like Jose could have come on board with that.
So
Be-
my understanding here, Haschel, I think, started by trying to go for taste, right? That
yes,
was the big push. He tried to
yes,
go for
he
taste.
he was trying to split you two up.
Right. And the issue there is that the numbers just like Drake was never voting Taste. That wasn't
Yeah,
going to happen.
yeah,
I was never voting Taste. So now you need literally every other player to do it. And why does Chaos do that? What he needed to incentivize Chaos to do it. I think he probably gets Jose and Merc on board. I mean, I'm wondering how much conversation happened there. Like, because Jose vote, why would Jose not vote for Taste? Like, he's fine with that. Taste has been like agitating him at that point.
yeah.
So
I
I
don't.
don't know how that fell apart. Like Haschel claimed that like going for Taste was a swing for the fence move. It didn't feel like it. It felt pretty reasonable. Like Jose does that, and if Merck and Jose are that close, why doesn't Merck come along? Why does Merck care? So now you've got three, and all you have to do is appeal to the guy with the necklace.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that tribal. I would have to go back and like read a lot of the chat rooms again to
Yeah.
just sort of get the breakdown for everything. That tribal was really interesting. I mean, the final vote didn't ultimately end up being that interesting, but I thought it was the everything leading up to it, and then I remember like you were like, oh fucking Haschel, like fucking
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Haschel,
not
like.
proud of any of this. Okay, so look, let's talk about this for a minute.
And
So
hold on,
first,
hold on.
yeah,
And I was just like, I just want to be like, Chili, this whole fucking game you've been complaining that people aren't playing, and now
yeah.
he's playing, and now you're fucking complaining about it. So like, what do
hmm
you want to like? What do you
Yeah,
want
no,
here?
I'll own that. So, okay, so there's a couple of things to consider. One, I knew that if Haschel was talking to me, he wasn't talking to other people. You only can talk to so many people at once. Haschel would challenge that notion. He seemed to be fucking everywhere this game. I don't know how he did it with two kids, but he seemed to have this like omniscient presence of being able to talk to everybody. So I don't assume he was talking to me much more or much less. I don't know. But I knew that if he was talking to me in those moments, he couldn't talk to anybody else. The other thing about this and why this frustrated me so much is that Haschel, he's a student of the game. And it felt like what he was doing was so textbook, not how you do it. If you're playing from the bottom, you make appeals to the top. You don't give the top an agenda. And
Hmm.
what also offended me was his agenda made no sense for my game whatsoever. Like it just didn't work. The information set didn't line up with what I knew, and I had no reason to follow his plan at all.
Hmm.
And so what then needed to happen was I needed to stay in this theatrical place of entertaining this shit, and eventually I just couldn't do it anymore, and it broke me. And I said it before, I'll say it again, like this is a bigger flaw on me than on him, but at some point he should have realized that I was not his Huckleberry. Like he needed to go somewhere else and talk to someone else because he was spinning his wheels with me. Like the
I
person he needed to win there was Chaos, not me.
I can't remember exactly what you said to him, but you were pretty blunt with him at one point, where you were just
Hmm.
like, "Look, this shit's not gonna work with me." Like,
Yeah, no,
sorry.
I told him, look, if you want this to happen, you're gonna have to go through someone else, and you have to
Yes.
find
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to talk like if you want me to make this vote, someone else is gonna have to convince me. And then like I get a thing 15 minutes later from Merck, and he says, Did you tell Haschel that the only way you'll be convinced is if someone else does it? And I said, yeah, Merc, that's what I said. He goes, that's brilliant. I don't know how the hell I'll handle this. Like, I'm gonna try using that on him too. Look, Haschel, to his credit, played his ass off, and he really tried. And his back was up against the wall. He just was going for the wrong people. Like, I think if he came to Merc and said, "Look, I've got chaos in pocket to make this move," maybe they do it. Maybe they do it.
I have
I
a
don't know.
deep appreciation for people who fight to the bitter end.
Hmm. Yeah, I kind of didn't love that Chaos laid down and take it when it came to be his time. I don't know how much he tried behind the scenes. It seems like he did talk to some people,
Yeah,
but not so much.
I mean
It's a little, yeah, a little disheartening.
it was a
I don't
little
know. Yeah,
it was a little surface level, like, oh hey, but I feel like that Chaos was pretty much just like, I don't think that I think that Chaos realized, like, he's not going to split you and Taste. Like, you and Taste aren't going to vote for each other, so that's,
hmm,
that's two votes down. You don't really gain anything by voting for Drake because Chaos is quote unquote the bigger challenge threat. And then yeah, I just think that Chaos realized, like, I think that I had this like weird fantasy about Chaos getting Merc and Jose together and
that
forcing,
was his option. Yeah,
yeah.
forcing rocks. Like that was his best shot. Do Mark and Jose do it? I don't know. They probably don't go to rocks at that point. I don't think
Well,
so.
so Merc was immune for that challenge.
Oh, okay.
We kind of we yada yada the challenge, but that's okay. I don't
It's
even
okay.
remember. I don't even remember what it was. But so Merc was immune. So I get, like, our thought was like, okay, well, fucking force rocks, like, because here was my thought was that in, so like last season we had a tie vote, and then Kupo flipped and voted off, I think it was Amnestar, because she didn't want to go to rocks.
Hmm.
And I felt pretty fucking confident that you didn't want to go to rocks and that Taste didn't go to rocks. So my view was like, force the tie. Like, fuck it. Force it. Chili or Taste is going to flip. Like, one of the two of them
You
is
think
going to.
one of us flip on the other?
I mean,
I
if
don't
you're.
flip there. I don't flip
So,
there.
hold on, hold on,
I
hold
don't
on.
put Taste's name down instead of go to rocks. I go to rocks.
Okay, so
I
let's.
will say that much.
Okay, so Merc, Jose, and we'll say Chaos voted for, like,
I mean, it's
you,
me or
or
Taste.
yeah,
It's me or
you or
Taste.
Taste, or Drake.
Yeah.
I guess Drake would have
Well, I'm
also
not.
been.
Yeah. In that case, I'm not going to rocks.
Yeah, no,
And
and
which KSN lives to see one more day,
yeah,
and that's what he needed to do. So yeah, he
yeah.
goes to Jose and Merck and says, "Let's vote Drake." Then do Jose and Merck, take that and say like, okay, why do they take that? Like, what's the incentive for them? Just to force rocks?
No, I mean it. Well, one, I think it's a. I mean, personally, I feel like that's a big move at that point, like, to that these three are seizing control. It takes away a close ally of Taste, and
Yeah, no, you're right. Like at
puts you
that
two at a
point,
3-2, and then it puts you
yeah,
two at a 3-2 disadvantage.
you're right. No, if he blows up the four and starts a three with Jose and Merck, Taste and I are not looking pretty at that point. We're in
Yeah.
trouble.
So
And so
that was what I was kind
that
of.
was out there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping would happen, and instead I just think that I just, like, I haven't talked to Chaos. We just kind of had trouble
Sure.
making our schedules connect. But I feel like that Chaos at that point was a little, either like a little checked out, or just really didn't have the scheming in them to just sort
No,
of.
I think the damage for Chaos, he can correct me if I'm wrong, when he made his play to go for spokes with his weird coalition of like these six people, I think he was left very crestfallen by that and got a little gun shy about like pulling together something ambitious.
Mhm.
I think he learned from that. Like I told him immediately following the vote where I blindsided him and didn't go with his plan. I told him, and I think, by the way, this is maybe one of the reasons why I got his vote at the end was I think I was the first person to talk to him. Be like, look, I will talk to you about why I went against your
Yeah.
interests here if you want to know. And he's like, you know what? I can't sleep. Please talk to me. And I just told him like, I straight up didn't believe your plan. It made me neurotic. It didn't make any sense to me. Why would I vote with these people who I don't know? And I was worried that it was me, so I had to find some other plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him like, next time, like the vote has to make sense. You have to know that I'm talking with these people. Like, so I told him like what the recipe was, at least to convince me of a plan.
Yeah.
And I think he, not just for me, but I think he learned, okay, here's how to not do it, which means he probably knew how to do it. He could have done it. But I
Yeah.
think he liked me enough that he didn't want to do that to me. Taste had been working with him whole game, so it's a tough spot. I can understand why he just sort of said,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm gonna go out with dignity on this. I'm not gonna be. And by the way, Haschel showed him exactly how he didn't want to do it. Chaos did not respond super well to what Haschel did, so I get it. It's not how I would do it, but I understand it and I do respect it. I think it's okay. I don't have a problem
I
with it.
mm, I
You drew, and that's fine.
I don't, and it's not. It's chaos. If you are watching this, it's not anything against you. It's nothing personal. I just feel like that if you, and I know that you feel the same fucking way. If you're gonna play this,
Play it.
play it. Go
No, I
fucking
get
hard.
it.
Like, man. I mean,
But look, I can't hate on it too much. That's kind of what I did in Scum v Town. Like at the three, when I was swap screwed, and
but
I
you
was with
didn't vote for
y'all,
your fucking self. You knew
I didn't
that
vote for myself.
you knew that you were going home. You tried to work with me. You knew it wasn't going to happen. You could have idled.
I could have idled.
You could have idled. That's the only that's and that was the
Yeah,
only that's the only
I could
thing
have. Yep.
that's the only thing differently that you could have done was you could have idled. I will actually say that I think my biggest flaw in Scum versus Town was similar to what you said, where just being too rigid and say like, "These are my crew. I'm only working with this crew," and I never really explored like any other
Mhm.
possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there was a universe where we worked together, but again, I can't fault your
Yeah,
game. You won, so
and
it
I
doesn't
can't
matter.
fault yours because you fucking won too.
There you go.
So yeah, so the chaos vote was like largely uh, unremarkable because chaos went in a
Hmm.
6-0. So then we
Yep. Same thing
had
is unfortunately true for Drake. It was just unremarkable.
yeah, yeah. I had which that was the challenge where it was.
Wasn't it the revisit? It was the redo with the cons and the puzzles again, wasn't it? Or was it something different?
I feel like it was something different.
It was no, it was mediocre Mario. That's what it was.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I
I so
know, I've heard this.
Cena had said earlier in the day, like, hey, can somebody find like a place to find Mario Brothers online? I was
Mhm.
like, sure, whatever. So I found this Mario emulator and it was awesome. It was like perfect. It was like flawless. But it had save states. And
Right.
so Cena's big thing is because in the past I think that they had done a Mario challenge and somebody had used save states to like kind of um,
Yeah.
mess with it. So he was like,
Cheese it.
yeah, to cheese it. And so he was like, excuse me, excuse me.
No.
So he had said, find one without save states. So I found this one. It wasn't perfect. It's playable. I speed ran it, and it was fine. And so like everything was fine. The only place that was a little wonky was the pipe coming from 1-2 to the
Mhm.
flag. And but then like, oh my fucking god, like everybody was having trouble with it, and I just felt so bad, like especially Merc, like, oh my god.
Taste. No, Taste was the one who
Oh,
really he
Taste,
couldn't
yes,
get.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't
And he
even
was the
get.
one who got really fucked on that one.
I mean, like it didn't matter in the end because Jose hit the score like perfectly.
No, Merc hit the score
Oh,
perfectly.
Merc hit the Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Merc hit the score
So it
perfectly.
wasn't. No one was beating Merc on that one.
Yeah.
And big props to him. He was telling me the whole time like all I want is a challenge where it's like do the thing the best you can and not win, not win first. He said if I get that, I will win, and he was right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was totally right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I felt really bad for Taste that he just
Yeah. He
um
probably no one was beating Merck, but I can understand how frustrated he must have been, and I could get it. Yeah,
yeah, we were all viewers just was rooting for chaos. Obviously, we always
sure.
were rooting for the person who was
Of course.
on the chopping
That's
block.
what you
So
always want. I mean, the show always frames it that way. They try to make it look like whoever's going
yeah,
home wins. So yeah,
yeah,
that's what you want. That's the drama.
yeah. And then we got to the revisit, which I thought was a really fun challenge. I know it had the Kongs but you won the Kongs. Like you
I don't
won.
think I did. I think if you look, I think I don't think I won the cards. I think that it got janked up and I didn't win it. If you go back and look at it, I think I was like, wait, what? I won? Like someone else got there first, but yeah, I did somehow manage to win it, and then Jose won the puzzles because Jose wins puzzles.
Yeah. Um. So okay. So hold on. So was the revisit? So the revisit was then. Oh yeah. So the revisit was then. So then we voted out. You voted out Drake 4-1.
Hmm.
That one was largely uneventful. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed the forum scavenger hunt. I have some I had some issues with some of the clues, but
me too. Me too.
also so last season MMT did all these like riddles and stuff, and it was very clear like which forums she was talking about.
Hmm.
And I felt like that some of the clues, and I told Cena this, so like I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here. I told Cena that I didn't think some of the clues were good, but Cena's view on things is like sometimes in Survivor the wind blows your ball off of.
I get that, but when you can control for something, you do. That's my thing. Like if you
Yeah,
can control for something, you do it. And then if something breaks bad, it breaks bad. But like if something is correctable or fixable, then you fix it. Like I personally, I thought Merck's miss on that was more egregious than mine. I thought he like threaded the needle and got it perfectly right with his no music discussion one. He ended up being more upset about the one that I didn't get. Um,
well,
but
so
my thing is for that one, there could have been multiple answers. And that would work. That's it. It fixes it. But
which one was the one that you missed?
the fitness log cabin over you look like shit.
Oh
So it
yeah,
was like physical fitness happens here, which literally is the fitness log cabin. It's also you look like shit. It's both of those, and it's really not refutable. Merck's is pretty similar. It was literally a music album. Like,
but so here is where I think that Merck's clue was actually fine.
okay,
Was that uh the idea was like, hipsters are always like, oh, I like their album
okay,
before this
yeah,
one came out.
yeah. I don't know Fizz too much, so I don't know if that made sense, but it
Oh,
could
so
have.
Fizz was like the big one that I got last year
Okay,
against Stake, where I was reading the clue and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I started thinking about it and I was like, oh, this is the pretentious hipster irony zone. And then I got Fizz
okay,
right. Um,
got it.
so
Okay, that's fair.
so I will say that like maybe because that forum is like a little closer to my heart because
Sure.
it's one that I got. Like when I saw that clue, I was like, oh,
All
that's
right, then I
Fizz.
stand by it. I got shafted more.
Um, I
Maybe.
I mean, I did see where what Merck was saying, where it was like if you're gonna talk about like music, Fizz is not the first. If you're gonna
Mhm.
use a clue that has music in it,
Yeah,
because
like
I
maybe
think
just niche music and say like I like this thing before that thing, and
yeah,
that's all you have to say. Don't make it about a music album. I get
I
it.
mean you could even say like I liked Arcade Fire before they were
Sure.
popular, and I think that probably would have been a little. I think that
Yeah.
would have been close, but I actually like because I was watching your stream during that challenge, and I was the one that was keeping score.
Hmm.
And I saw that you posted and so what Cena would do is he would post the answers in the production chat, and then we would go through and we would just double check that you posted. I hadn't looked in the production chat, and I just saw that you posted in you look like shit, and I was like, oh okay,
I
he
posted in
got
Fitness Log
or
Cabin.
fitness log yes,
Yeah.
fitness log cabinet. I was like, okay, Chili got that one right, And Cena was like, no, he didn't. And I was like, wait, what? So there was actually one that was very funny where it was for Jose. It was something about space.
Yeah, I that was tough. The sci-fi Wi-Fi.
Well, okay, so that was not the original forum it was supposed to go in. There had been a rotating space subforum that had literally gotten deleted the day before, and Cena didn't realize that the space, because they changed it, they moved they that rotating subforum became
Yeah,
enclosed pool area, which is a wrestling
I'm not gonna
like.
be salty. I won. I'm not gonna say anything about this.
So yeah, so the space forum became this like kind of fun wrestling forum, like this
Mhm.
rotating sub forum. And so Cena didn't realize that that space forum was there, because I was like looking for it, and I was like, Cena, what fucking space forum are you talking about? And then Jose posted in the sci-fi Wi-Fi, and Cena was like, okay, well, I
But
can't
the
really,
wind blew over the coconut. Like, like that's the problem,
yeah,
right? Like again, it is what it is, and you
uh,
do what you can. And
yeah.
I don't believe that there's any malice or intention to like give the win to someone else. It is what it is.
No,
So
Cena definitely played things very straight, like to the
I'm
point,
sure.
to a fault. Because like when Merck found that idol, because we didn't really
Hmm.
talk, we talked about this kind of offline, but basically what had happened was Cena had a Imgur post of a idol clue, and then he had another one of the actual idol itself. Well,
Yeah, he posted that. Yeah.
when he was hiding it, he accidentally hid the actual idol itself instead of the clue to the idol. So then Merc inadvertently discovered the idol when he wasn't supposed to, because the idol was actually supposed to be hidden in like the bullhorn, I think it was,
Mhm.
the little bullhorn emoji. Well, then probably 10 minutes after Merc found the idol, Taste interacted with the bullhorn emoji, and it was like, oh, Cena was like, oh, you didn't find anything. It looks like something was here. I think Cena said something like it looked like something was here, but now it's not.
Hmm.
But it that was another one of those like little snowflake or
Yeah,
butterfly.
it's tough. I won't take issue or exception. You
I
gotta stick and move and do what you can.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those. I mean, the prize isn't $1 million. I will say
Right.
that.
Yeah. It's okay.
So we came to the really exciting challenge, which was the forum posting. So Jose ended up winning that. What I know that Merck and Jose had approached you about voting taste. Did you think they were serious at all about voting taste, or were you like, no, they're out to get me?
What I knew was that if I voted with taste, I was not getting voted out. That's what I knew because
Makes
I
sense.
I knew that taste would not lie to me. I did not know that Merck wouldn't lie to me. I also did promise Taste that I would never write his name down, and the only time when I ever got near to that, I told him in confidence because so here's the deal, and here's why I think Merck played the best game. That's who I think should have won Survivor if everything sort of lined up correctly. He had me pretty much hook, line, and sinker. I was not aware that he was nearly as close with Jose as he was. I had no idea. I really thought I was a priority. And the way he did that was by making it clear to me, like, you and me, Chili, we're holding this Mafia 4 together. It's you and me. And he made me feel like a priority to the point that I genuinely told him before this conversation we just had, Merc, because the idol share was fucking huge. That was a big part of this, what
Oh,
changed it, which we have to talk about, I guess.
yeah.
But what ultimately sealed it for me was that like I told Merc, look, prior to this, you know that I have a final two with Taste. We are now in a different situation. If there's a situation where I have to choose between you and him, I'm still leaning Taste, but I will consider you. I meant
Hmm.
that genuinely. At that vote, I went to Taste. I said, look, I need to consider Merc here because I don't know what happens here. I don't know how or where or who the
Which
vote is, but
which vote was that? But
that was at four. Well, we were talking about four,
oh,
so
okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
yeah. No, it's okay. So at four, I'm like, look, Taste. I told you about this, and he was hurt by this before. Like, and he was right to be. We formed an alliance, and the only reason why I got threatened was like I really warmed up to Merc. We became really good buddies. We talked, we bonded. He did an amazing job, just totally swindling me, and not letting me know where he was. So at that point in time, I'm like, I need to think about whether I'm voting for you or him. And ultimately, what won the day was not just that me voting with Taste for sure kept me there, but I did promise Taste, and I wasn't really intending to write Taste's name down.
Hmm.
But because I was thinking about it, I wanted to at least share that with Taste. It didn't seem like it would be fair to just consider that on my own and totally blindside him.
Yeah.
The odds that I ever write Taste's name down there are so fucking low. But the fact that they weren't zero is a credit to Merck.
Yeah.
I was I surprised when it ended up being me? Not really. If you were watching the stream, it did not catch me that off guard. It
Mm-mm.
made total sense that they would go for me. Why would they vote out Taste there? There's no reason to do it. They thought I was the bigger threat, so why wouldn't they go for me?
Yeah. Yeah, that final four vote was pretty intense, and then I think credit to you for winning fire for that final four fire making challenge, because I had done that same puzzle earlier in the day. It was because Cena had given us the link to it, or
Hmm.
had given the production
It
the
was a
link to
fish of
it.
a puzzle.
Oh my fucking god, man! It took me over an hour to do it.
Okay, well that makes me feel good. I mean, of course, there's a couple of problems here. Another place where Jose torched his game, I think, is that he posted that he finished the puzzle. Did you see that? Like, it was a problem.
Oh yeah, yeah, I
So,
did.
so Jose doing that, he posted finish, and then I posted mine a minute later, which made it clear that if he had stepped down and gone after me individually and given his necklace to Merc, okay, you know what? He beats me and he takes me out. And is there any chance in hell at that point that Jose doesn't win the game? He wins the fucking game. If he goes against me and fire, like and Chris Underwood's my ass out of the game, he wins. Now he didn't know that it was a puzzle. But
Hmm.
here's my thing. Like, if Merc beats me there, Merc's winning the fucking game. It's not even close.
Yeah,
So, like, I don't know. Jose's path to victory was through beating the other person. And look, he won all the challenges over me. I didn't win any of them. He had to know the odds were decent that he could take me out. And I really wish he went for it. Not really, really, because then I'm probably in the jury and I don't know at that point.
yeah,
His path there, and when he posted that he finished the puzzle, he basically admitted, I could have done this. I could have taken out Chili. He, at the
yeah.
very least, shouldn't have bragged about beating us because he made it clear that he had a shot that he didn't take.
I
So
hadn't
that was
thought
a
about
problem.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's an interesting take on the situation that I hadn't considered.
Yeah, like honestly, if even if he said, "Oh damn, I lost this one," if he had said that, then it's like, okay, well, I would have lost anyway. But don't brag about winning the fight that you should have been in.
Yeah,
That's the thing. And I believe him. I'm sure he would have beat me. He was better at puzzles than me.
yeah.
So yeah.
So, I really want to talk about the final tribal council, and I know for you, this final tribal council was like fucking insane. And it was stupidly long. I shouldn't say stupidly long. It was very.
I will tell you, there were many points in the game. If you watch my stream, I was like, "Oh my God, it's so late." I not for a second. I was dialed into this. I had no idea what time it was. I could have gone for another 3 hours. I had no idea. So it wasn't wearing on me. I was on full adrenaline and I was just going. Probably to my peril. I don't think I gave the best answers. As I said before, Jose totally outperformed me at Final Tribal. I thought he did a perfect job. As good. No, he didn't do as good of a job as you. I think you won your game in Final Tribal. He could have won his game there,
Hold
but
on a second. Oh, hold on a
I would have
second. Hold on a
had to.
second. Hold on a
Oh, go
second.
ahead.
Off the computer. You that fucker. Sorry, my cat will turn the computer off if I
Yeah.
don't.
Oh goodness. Yeah. So I believe that you definitely, if you didn't win, you certainly increase your chances significantly in Final Tribal. I think he did the same. He needed for me to do a little worse than I did, and I didn't do that badly. I thought I did fine.
Yeah. So for your tribal, we did like a different or
Yeah.
Cena did the outwit, outlast,
He
outplay.
structured it like they do on the show.
Yeah. Did you prefer that, or or were you hoping it was more straightforward, like everybody asks one question?
I yeah, I don't like structure. I'd rather things be free form, but that's not to say it's better or worse. It's just not the way I would prefer to fight it out. A big part of that too was I thought a distinct advantage I had going into it was that Haschel, if you looked at my final tribal Bible, he gave me his recipe. He
Yeah.
gave me like the thing that he outlined, so I prepared for it, and I
Hmm.
had a canned answer that I thought was really good, and I didn't get to use it, so I was a little pissed
I
because I
thought,
thought that was a really distinct part of like what made me what made me suitable to win that game was that like I got that out of him and I was able to prepare for it.
yeah. How long had you been working on that final tribal council Bible? Because it was, a lot of people were pretty impressed with how in depth it was. Was that something you had worked on? Like, if somebody had said something,
No,
did you kind of?
once I was in final three, I started cobbling it together. Once
Oh
that
wow,
happened, I started grinding.
wow.
Like yeah, no, I never assumed I was going to be at the final three of this. I really
Hmm.
didn't. So once that happened, I was like, time to go to work. And I am not a stranger to hard work when it matters to me, and this mattered to me.
Okay, hold on
Did
a
we
second.
lose something? Are we good?
No, like my camera looks weird on your stream now.
Oh, you're looking fine and dandy on my end of things.
Yeah, it's that's weird. On your stream, I'm like flipped.
Oh, I
Weird.
don't know.
Anyways, I don't. It's probably not a big deal.
Okay,
Um, anyways, so I thought that I thought the tribal was fucking awesome. I
I did
enjoyed it.
too.
I thought it was spicy as hell.
Hmm.
I thought it was.
Spokes and Sally, I think, kind of get the MVP there. I loved their questions. They were great.
Oh my god. So Haschel kind of asked. I have it pulled up in front of me. Just FYI. Haschel kind of had, and actually Haschel had talked to me about this too when I did my interview with him, where he talked about the
Criteria.
the
Yeah.
criteria. So this was like what I was sort of expecting, and I thought that his question was pretty straightforward. Your answer, where you said yes because Taste is sitting here with me. I didn't much care who else was next to us if there was going to be a final three. Like I thought that was a perfectly fine, reasonable answer because it it made sense, and I didn't think it was. Yeah, I thought it was that was
And it's honest. It's totally true.
yeah,
Like my priority in this game and was to try to get there with taste. That's what I wanted.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Merc's interaction with Taste was really interesting, where he said you played a passive game after the Blaze vote. Chile took the agency of your final two and dragged you to the end. Why did you not address that in your opening statement? And why do we vote you over him? I thought that that was like the first time where I was really like, ooh, like they're coming, like they're fucking coming hard, and they're not like pulling their punches. And
Hmm.
I sort of wonder, like in my tribal, I think that I told you that like Zesty's question to me like really
Yep.
gave me confidence,
Yeah.
and I sort of wonder if Merc's question to Taste maybe was the opposite.
I don't know. I don't want to necessarily speak for taste
That's fine.
here.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
asking you to.
it's
Sorry.
tough. I will say I saw that question and it put me in a really weird spot. Um, I couldn't, in good conscience, try to refute that point for a couple reasons. One, it wasn't my question to answer,
Hmm.
but two, like it's my job there to try to win. And if that's the narrative, I have nothing to gain by challenging it. Um, and at that point, like, it was, look, Final Tribal was truly the only time where Taste and I were competing against each other. We weren't in a position ever where we needed to do that. And I don't know if we ever really hashed out the ground rules for how that was going to look.
Hmm.
We agreed to not talk down on each other. And I think at a certain point, I definitely did make a turn and begin to do that because I was getting nervous. I definitely, I didn't know which way the wind was going to blow. And I couldn't quite tell what the jury thought of me at a certain point. And I really wanted to try to make it clear kind of where I was, where I had the power. Because what it sort of seemed like was they're like, hey, yeah, no shit, you won. You had someone with you who was lockstep with you, and like,
Hmm.
yeah, you had basically had two votes all along, and that wasn't how my game was. It didn't feel like that. So it was a tough spot for me. It was a really
Yeah.
tough spot. Yeah, it was tough.
Um, there was some interesting stuff. I won't. It. I feel like that it would be impossible to just go through like every question and all of your answers, but I thought that the Spokes' question about
Mhm.
your game is pretty much intertwined with taste. Do you feel like you did anything that you can point to earn votes over taste at Final Tribal? I thought that that was a really reasonable question to ask. Um, and then
Less reasonable was his hypothetical, which kind of put a gun up to my head. I liked it for the sake of,
oh,
theater, but
I'm very much looking forward to talking
okay.
talking to you about. We could just go ahead and skip to that question.
Okay.
Because I thought that the way that you handled that one was really interesting. So, full disclosure, I for whatever reason hadn't even considered watching your stream until right as that Spokes answer was happening.
Okay.
I was pretty enthralled in the viewers Vista chat that it was like,
Sure.
oh right, yeah, he is probably streaming this, you dumb son of a bitch.
It's okay. You were enjoying the game, man, however you did it.
Yeah. But yeah, so Spokes' question to you was, Taste has made it very clear he'd rather lose to you than vote you out. Do you feel the same way? Specifically, if you knew last night that voting for Taste would win the game straight up, would you have done it? It wouldn't have, obviously, and you were right to smell something wrong with it. But would you rather be at a final tribal council with Taste and lose, or be at a final tribal council with the other two and win? Your your answer was sitting with Taste felt like priority to me because we had a solid partnership. In this situation, I think my answer is no. I'd rather take a guaranteed win than lose to Taste. So I'd vote him out. I sincerely hope Taste feels the same way. And when you answered that, I for some reason I think I had your stream muted or something, and I was like, wow, that's a fucking hell of an answer. And then somebody was like, oh no, in his stream he just said that that was like not truly how he felt. So
It isn't. It isn't how I felt. And I don't know if I've gotten a chance to really clear that up with Taste, but that was theater. I
mhm.
gave the answer that I thought would win me Spokes' vote. I didn't win his vote. I'm I'm a little pissed that I didn't get Spokes' vote. If you're gonna ask me a question like that, and I'm gonna give you that direct, impossible answer, I don't know how I lost his vote, but like, why are you asking me that, man? Like, that was a tough fucking question. And like, what answer could I have given there that would have made Spokes happy?
I mean,
I don't know.
do you feel like, and I don't know, I'm just being honest. Do you
Yeah.
feel like that maybe Spokes realized that it was bullshit?
So the thing is, like, there wasn't an honest answer to the question because the scenario wasn't real. Like, I didn't know it's this crazy hypothetical. To me, the only like, I guess, so what is the honest answer to that question?
I mean,
You're right. I wasn't being honest. Like, I was entertaining the reality of the question, I guess, which to me felt like all I needed to do. I think that that's what Spokes wanted me to give a hard answer, so I gave one. And
yeah.
I guess I could have given the other one, but I didn't understand the nature of the question and how it works. So like, are you saying that like if I don't vote for Taste, does he automatically win?
Hmm.
Was that the dynamic, or is it
Okay.
just I
Yeah,
don't know.
I guess that makes sense that it's hard to kind of answer that
Like, yeah, so
question.
look, okay, so you know what? I was honest because here's the thing, like in the scenario that he proposed, if I vote out Taste there and I win, then I win. If I don't vote out Taste, I don't know if he wins. Does that make sense? So I go home and now he goes to final. But what if he doesn't win? I think in both of those scenarios, Taste prefers the one where I win because then at least one of us wins.
Hmm.
So that was my feeling, and that was the honesty of it, if that's the dynamic. But I might have misread the dynamic. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean, Taste then just was kind of like, I gave you my word and I keep my word or fail in
I
spectacular
know.
fashion trying. And
And I
um,
guess that is also an etiquette question. I was really pissed. I started to get really pissed that both that Jose and Taste were going back and forth, and that both of them were like quoting. I didn't know what the etiquette was here. I didn't think we were supposed to do that, and I didn't like that it was happening at all.
I I'll be
I
honest,
don't
I
know.
don't I don't know that there was essentially like a rule for it or against it, but we fucking loved it.
You love the back and forth?
Oh my god, yes.
Okay.
There was one time, and I don't remember where it was, but I think it was like Taste and Jose were going back and forth, and it was Bunny's turn to ask a question, and Cena had pinged Bunny, and then was like, "Wait, don't ask your question yet. Like, let's let this like back and
Okay.
forth go a
Look,
little
that's
bit."
fair. And at that point, like about 95% of the time, I cared deeply about how much fun the Vista was having. I didn't give a shit, right? I wanted to win the game. So, like, I don't really care if you guys were enjoying it. It pissed me off, and I didn't know my lane. I didn't know like what the right because I feel like if I jumped into that, suddenly all this becomes something else, and I didn't want to do it, and I took exception to it. And then I think a flaw was that I pointed it out and hung a lantern on it in my closing, and I don't think I needed to do that at all.
Yeah,
Like that was dumb.
I'll be honest. Like, I don't think that your decision to either engage or not engage impacted anything because, like, I think that it was proper for Jose and Taste to do it because they were both they were I felt like they were the two that were really competing for the votes. Like
That's fair.
so I mean I
I,
think
I guess to me, if I'm on the jury, I was thinking about what I would respect more, and I would respect the player who didn't buy into that shit. That's what
yeah.
I would be much more inclined to vote the player who was like being chill about things.
I mean remember how fucking pissed Zesty got at Kupo last
Uh-huh.
year?
That I don't think I didn't forget about that and how much that made them look bad. Like, because it did. Didn't make Zesty look bad. It made Kupo and Steak look really bad.
Yeah.
So I remembered that and don't think I didn't.
I have to just say like from a personal perspective, and as you as a listener to Rob House podcast have probably heard, you know, they say that the when a returnee comes back, they play like the winner, like the person who won the season before them.
Yeah,
Or excuse me, that sorry, I misspoke there. That
I got you.
when a returnee comes, they play like the person who won their
Won their
season,
season. Yeah.
and so and I mean, obviously, I was like Chili's his own person, but I was kind of interested to see if that like kind of held true. And I mean, I think that you and I
Yeah.
have a similar. I think that you and I have a similar disposition and a similar personality.
Mhm.
So I think that it happened, but I think that it would have happened
No, I think we are
regardless.
both social winners. That's what I think how we won our games.
Hmm.
I remember few moments from Scum versus Town because it was a while ago. But the one I remember the most distinctly is the conversation you and I had right before our boot, where I'm like, this person gets me, they like me, this is nice, I feel heard, we're bonding, like this is the shit I was looking for. I want to give that to as many people as possible, figuring if that made me feel that good, then I'm gonna hopefully make other people feel that good.
Yeah,
And
I thought Dad Chat. I it was like killing me not to just like jump into
I
Dad Chat with
know.
you guys. Like,
That was actually yeah, I was nervous about seeing like any of the mods jump into things because I felt like I really wanted to try to control a lot of them and I wanted people to remember like I was the one who started these things.
yeah,
And yeah, that was important.
yeah, because uh, fair for people who don't know, basically, Chili had asked me kind of early on, like, I think that I don't remember. I think
Oh,
it
I
was
just
in
told you like I'm not going to respond to you.
yeah,
Like don't think I'm icing you out, but like I want to respond only to the players and I
yeah,
want them to see me. So I just gave you a heads up. Like I didn't tell you to
yeah.
stop. I just said like
No,
I'm gonna ignore you.
but you were right to do that because this wasn't my game, and it was like I had to. That was like one thing that was really hard for me is that I really fucking wanted to be in the thick.
I could tell. I could tell,
I
and I get it.
I really fucking wanted to just be in the thick of things, and it was like hard for me, and I had to kind of dial that back, and you know, so there were times where I felt like I was getting a little too friendly in I was getting a little too
But
you know,
that, look,
friendly
that's
in
what
chat.
that means is that those rooms felt inviting. The fact that you wanted to participate is exactly kind of how I wanted those things to feel. Like I wanted it to be like, hey, we're not talking game here. We're talking about just being parents. Like let's just
Yeah,
do that. Because again, like my best time in that game in Scumver's Town was when you and I were just dadding out and just talking about being
yeah,
dads. And then,
yeah.
you know, some game talk happens here and there, and people feel like they're heard, and that's nice and good, and it's a good thing to have. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I really liked that chat, and it was very fun to read. Um, so, um, I thought you did a really good job in tribal. I know that you had mentioned that I did this specifically, but like mentioning people's names, and until you pointed that out to me, I guess I hadn't even realized that I
Yeah.
unconsciously did that. There
And
was
I didn't do it perfectly. I realized how hard it is to just start a post that way because I didn't do it for like the first three until I caught up and realized like, oh, I'm not doing that thing I said I should do.
I remember there was one time when I was watching your stream where you were like, "Fuck, I forgot to say his name" or something like that, and um, like I I appreciated that you pointed that out because I honestly didn't realize that I did that. But anyways, I appreciated that. Thank you. But
I don't know how much it mattered. I
I
so I think if we're thinking about like what votes there were truly like not stable, I think I'm getting Chaos's vote and I think I'm getting Bunny's vote. I was surprised that I got Bunny's vote. Like I didn't expect that. But in retrospect, I don't think Bunny was changing, and I don't think Chaos was changing either.
mhm.
Hashel was, I believe Hashel was up in the air, and um, I don't quite know how I sunk it on him. I asked him. I said, like, what two did I get from you? And he said he gave me strategy and social, not structural. Structural went to Jose. So I was one S away from kind of losing this game.
Was there anybody's vote that you got that you were surprised about?
I mean, yeah, it was Bunny's. Like Bunny, largely because he was out of pocket. I didn't know much about Bunny. I had like this much. Bunny was out of everyone on the jury, the person I literally talked to the least. So
Hmm.
um, I knew Bunny wasn't voting taste. There was an eye roll emoji that was sort of quoted after taste in some tribal. So it seemed like Bunny had ill will towards taste and did not
Hmm.
care for taste at all. So I read that. And then it's like between me and Jose, I don't know. I'm not sure. So that one kind of surprised me. I was really hoping I got Chaos, and I'm glad I did. I feel really happy that I got Chaos's vote. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you put in a lot of. I thought you put in a lot of work with chaos. So.
Yeah, and a lot of that chat was mostly not public, but we talked a lot one on one, just sort of,
Hmm.
indirect message. And we talked about every vote, how it broke down, how he felt. And, it was weird. There was this sort of there's this trend that happened in this game where you tell the boot that they're the boot. That was kind of like Merc and Taste were both people who generally were like, we're just gonna be honest. And if you have the idols, you don't necessarily have to be coy. You can be honest. But in my head, it's like you never tell the boot. It's like it's in the top five rules of survivors. You don't tell the boot. It makes them go crazy, and they can crazy their way out of being the boot, and that could be you. So you don't tell the
Yeah.
boot. But it was for Drake, for Chaos, pretty much for Hashel too. Like these people knew they were the boot. Like, and that's weird. I didn't, but I had to conform to that. And if
Yeah.
I was the one person who didn't be straight with Chaos, there's no way he votes me. So I had to go with it. I had to say, like, look, it's been an honor, and I just, honored it up with Chaos, and it works. I
Yeah.
followed the trend. It's not in my nature to do that in Survivor. Like, you don't do that, but I get it.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't ever tell me I'm the boot. If I'm playing, blindside the shit out of me. I don't want to be all stressed out and like that's a terrible day for me. I'd
Oh
much
yeah.
prefer to be blindsided. Oh God, but like knowing you're going down the toilet and slowly swirling, that sounds horrible. So
There
yeah,
was so after the fucked up boogie vote, I was pretty much convinced that I was like going to be the next person to go. So then it was just like I spent, basically
yeah.
a long weekend plus 2 days, so almost like 4 or 5 days just like convinced like, oh, I'm going next, I'm going next, and
Mm.
it's a bad feeling. It does not feel pleasant.
Yeah, no. Don't,
Um
don't blindside me, please. That's
yeah.
the noble thing to do.
I thought your closing statement was really strong, was really good. When the votes started getting read, like were you so did you think that this was either going to be close, or did you think that one person was going to just sort of run away with it?
I thought if anyone was going to run away with it, it was me, but I didn't expect it. I didn't see Jose running away with it, and really didn't see Taste running away with it. When it was close, I was really happy. that was the outcome that I kind of wanted. And from a narrative standpoint, the fact that Taste and I did have that deep partnership and that he got to put the crown on my head, that's the best. And
Hmm.
I would have been really satisfied had it been the other way around. To me, it's like we agreed on this partnership. We're gonna go the distance. One of us is gonna fucking win it. Like I think it would have been a lot worse, and I wouldn't have preferred it if Taste and I had tied and then I had won. And then, by the way, I would have. Jose absolutely picks me. He told me as much, and I'm positive Jose picks me. He had a big issue with Taste for a lot of this game. That's
Yeah.
not the way I would have wanted to win this shit. Nah, this was better. Even though Taste, technically I guess gets third in that case, it felt to me so much more satisfying that we literally through his action I won the game, and I would have loved to have helped him win the game in the same way.
Yeah.
Like I it's hard for me to think of a conclusion that I'm happier with even if it happened in the other direction. I'm thrilled to pieces if I get to put the crown on his head. Like that's just it's just a perfect end to the story.
It was it was interesting because it was sort of a Dom and Wendell type thing
Right.
where
But we didn't tie.
yeah,
So
but well,
yeah.
right, but that uh, Wendell had put in the effort with
Hmm.
Laurel,
Yeah.
whereas like Dominic had kind of like blown her off a little bit, and then that
Hmm.
was like
Yep, that's the
ultimately.
thing.
So I think that the fact that you put in effort with Taste, that you put in effort with everybody. I mean, I felt like I it, from the viewer's perspective, I think that we were sort of waffling between Jose and you most of the time because I think that a lot of us felt like Jose had a pretty strong
He did.
had
He
like
did.
an absurdly strong tribal,
He showed
and
up.
we felt like that there were some votes in the air. Like I definitely felt like that a lot of the from what we could see in Ponderosa that a lot of the LPers had pretty much were like
There were, yeah. I think Blaziken, Drake, Chaos, and Bunny, they knew where their votes were going. Sally was probably a little fluid because Sally's fluid and Sally's
yeah,
fun. And I think that Jose rightly won his vote. He picked up a fluid vote, right?
yep,
So he won that vote, and it
yeah,
makes sense. I think Spokes and Haschel are also fluid.
yes.
They wanted to see game on display, and they
Spokes
picked,
Spokes said as much in their
yeah.
confessional that their vote was live, and so
I and that is one thing. I'm not upset that I didn't get Spokes' vote. I just really want to know why. Why didn't I? Because I want to know what I could have done better to win over Spokes there. I'm really curious. So that's a question I will have for Spokes at some point.
yeah. Were you ever so I think I had sent you like the little joke that I made when Taste had to go do his vote, which was like I promised I would never write
Never
your
write your name down. Yeah.
yeah. Did that concern you at all, or were you just like,
I
I
I
have
could
this?
tell. I haven't talked to Taste too much about this. I could tell that Taste didn't seem too happy. Um, Towards the end of Final Tribal, I wasn't sure how he was feeling.
Hmm.
I would have been really surprised if he picked Jose. Really surprised.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the thing is, everything that happened between Taste and I when there was a ripple or whatever, we were able to talk about it. We obviously couldn't talk in this situation, but my hope, I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to Taste too much yet, is that we can talk our way through the events at Final Tribal, and I think Taste believed that as well. But I don't know. I mean, I think there was something telling about the vote. It wasn't a congratulatory vote. It was, I'm a man of my word. It was sort of clear to me that he wasn't voting for me as much as he was sticking to his principles.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that all shook out. Again, I haven't really gotten much of a chance to talk with Taste. I mean, look, to me, this game is about the game first. And so if at any point, we had this true and honest partnership that I was super committed and happy with.
I mean, you guys were calling each other on the phone, like,
Yeah, we were talking on audio on Discord, not a ton, but we did do that, and we planned to make more calls and stuff. We were thick as thieves on this. And look, I will tell you, I never seriously considered Xing him. Some of the things that I did do that might seem questionable to the alliance was I would talk to other people about where we were, and the line that I've used, which I picked up, I forgot who did it. Someone on Survivor did it. It's the best way to talk about your partnership is look, if you have to write this person's name down, just leave me out of it. I can't know about this because I will tell them.
Yeah.
And to me, that's how you handle a partnership in Survivor. Because if I make it clear that this person's a non-starter, well, then I'm not interesting to you. I'm not valuable to you. I'm making it clear that like this is my ally, and that's like a you want to break that up. But if
Yeah.
I'm showing some flexibility, okay, that's something. My whole thing is like if someone's coming after Taste, I'm gonna hear about it. If it's not you, I'll hear about it from somewhere else, and then I will work to fight it. But like I need to at least represent that this is not as strong as it is. So, that did happen. Things like that
Hmm.
happened. But fundamentally, like I do hope to sort of like talk this out with Taste. Like Final Tribal, like I did what I had to win, and I wouldn't begrudge him the same. And by the way, I told this to Taste. I didn't have a blind side in me. I was never writing his name down, and I was never going to cut or burn Taste in this game. It wasn't ever going to happen. Um, the hypothetical that Spokes posed is a hypothetical that exists in some weird universe that I had to answer this
Yeah.
question. But it was never going to happen. If Taste ever wrote my name down, if he ever burned me, 99% I'm giving him my vote of Final Tribal. Like, to me, that is perfect gameplay, and I have no hard feelings about that at all. I didn't expect that that would ever happen, but if he
Yeah.
did it and used his partnership to his end, like if at the end of that, if at that four he voted me with Jose and Merck, I'm delighted. That's fucking perfect. And the friendship that we built is still real. I still care about him, and I absolutely want him to win. Totally. To me, once you're on the jury, you can't have those alliances anymore. You got to pick the best game. And
Yeah.
so I might not have picked Taste to win on the jury if he didn't give me good reason to think that he should win. Like
Yeah.
you surrender your agency. Once you're on the jury, that's all you have left.
Hmm.
So it's a bit rambly, but that's kind of how I feel.
No, I was really. I told you this offline. I was really jealous of that tight friendship, that tight bond, and the fact that you had someone that was, you know, 100% like your ride or die. Because like
Yeah.
in my perception, I had that, but then in reality, like I really didn't have
Yeah.
that, and I think when I found that out, it really depressed me. I told Jose this. I told Jose this too, that like it's weird when everything is over, because it's like you spend 39 days just going hard as fuck, and then it's just like over, and it's like,
hmm That's how it is.
yeah.
I mean, look, and it's funny, like we don't have this contrived reason to talk anymore. And that's how all this shit works. Whether, like I said, I'm big in like theater, and so I've done shows. It's the same thing there. The show ends, and you say, well, this is great, let's be friends, but you don't have that thing pulling you together to keep it
Hmm.
going. I've talked to Taste less today than I have any other day in these past 39. We haven't had as much reason to talk. I
Yeah.
mean, we have stuff to talk about, but like we don't have like something to plan against or something to deal with. And the same is true for everybody. And I would love if, I talked as much with like the three people I really talked with the most this game were Hashel, Merc, and Taste. If I talked to them the same level that I talked to them like through the game, I'd be thrilled. But like, it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen.
I thought Spy vs Spy was a really fun channel to.
Was it?
Yeah, it was
I
really
hope it
fun.
was. That was a fun
It was
place to
fun.
be. Okay, good. I know towards the end it got a little rough with me being kind of a dick and him being kind of desperate, but like up until then, I hope it was good fun.
Oh yeah, Spy vs Spy was a ton of fun.
Good, good.
Jalapeno Poppers was a ton of fun. Mafia
Mhm.
4, Mafia 4, and like I said, I tend
That's
to
what you
be
wanted.
I tend to be hypersensitive, so I enjoyed Mafia 4 outside of that
Yeah, when
that
Hashel went.
that Haschel went, and I felt like you guys were kind of doing a victory lap.
I watched that. I went back and looked at it. I was not there for any of it.
No, and I know that I know that you weren't, but I think in at that point in time, I was just like, oh, these four fucking assholes. Like they've
hmm
still got two votes left. Like shit can happen. Like
Yeah.
now, I will say, having reread it, it was not nearly as egregious as I thought it was.
Sure.
But I just remember at the
I
time,
do think that a lot of it did come down to relief. Like Hassel fought like a son of a bitch, and I'm proud of him for
yeah,
doing it. We were just done. Like we
yeah.
were breathing a sigh of relief. That's largely what I think it
I
was. We
mean,
weren't flexing.
and to be fair, you know, you rightfully said you didn't feel like that Chaos or Drake really had it
No, I
in them to
mean, yeah,
organize, and it's totally
it's
understandable
true.
why you
Like
felt like
we were also not just celebrating him going, but we were pretty much celebrating what felt like a set path to four, and we weren't wrong.
no,
Like
you
we did
weren't.
just march to four. We did it.
Yeah,
So, we got to breathe a little easy.
I thought that there was an interesting in those the seasons of Survivor where when it's like fans versus favorites, or whenever there's
Hmm.
like returnees and new players,
Yeah,
like pretty much the returnees always
yeah,
just like shithouse the new players
yeah. That's kind of what happened
with like
here.
very few
Yeah.
exceptions, and I definitely felt like that was what happened here, was that the
Yeah, there were aspects of this that I didn't like, and I didn't like that at all. Like, look, I'm not gonna say that I should have done anything different. I won, and I
I don't
stand
think
by
you
my
should have either.
game. But like, I don't feel great about the fact that it wasn't even fans versus favorites, or that we had played much Survivor. It's that we had actually known each other, and nobody bothered to figure it out.
Yeah,
And it's not like it would have been terribly difficult to figure out that the four of us played Mafia. Like you could have done that, but no one bothered to. No one. It seemed like we were somehow this under the radar entity for the. I don't know how that happened, but
yeah,
it felt a little tough.
I mean, it's really interesting when you think about it that in the final three there was a grand total of 2 votes against combined against the three of you, and 2 of those were for you.
Mhm.
Like I was almost surprised that Taste never pointed out that he didn't have a single vote against him. Like that could have been. I mean, if somebody had asked him, like, "Well, what differentiates your game?" Like,
Mhm.
I didn't almost get voted out. Like that's what
I didn't
differentiates
have to
my
go to
game.
fire. That was funny. I was wondering, like, to Hashel's question about structure. Does me winning fire, is that an asset or a liability? Like I had to do it. I had to earn my way. Is it better that I did that or Taste? I mean, Taste was technically, I would say, brought in as the GOAT role. He's not a GOAT, but what they did was they decided to bring him in instead of me. They gave him his spot, right?
Hmm.
They did that. So it's like, what's better there? I mean, and when you watch the show, 9 times out of 10, the person who's making fire is far more likely to win than
Yeah,
the person who's brought along.
I don't. I don't.
So I don't know.
I don't think the person who has ever been brought to the end has won.
Jeremy, not Jeremy. What's his name? It was season 39.
Oh,
The ginger.
the ginger guy.
Uh, not
Fuck, I can't
Jeremy.
think.
Well, he was a really unremarkable winner, so that's why. But
Yeah,
he was the first person to ever win from the GOAT role.
yeah,
You're looking it up
yeah,
as the blue light casts on your face.
yeah. It frustrates me when I like pull my screen. Tommy.
Tommy, yeah, that's it. Tommy was the first one to win from the GOAT role. But he did that like through some sheer cunning and pretending he didn't know how fire worked. Like he actually
Yeah,
like manifested, a story that
yeah,
worked,
yeah,
because he really needed to exile Lauren, I think it was. Anyway,
yeah.
um, so yeah, it's tough to win from that position. To me, like winning at fire, I think kind of, did not hurt me. It helped. I think I did better
No,
for it. If Taste won at fire there, and he probably does, because Merc really hates puzzles, and it was late and he was tired. Does Taste win? Taste might win. If Taste makes fire there, I don't know. It's not a bad look for him.
no, no. It's
I
not.
think it makes it clear that they were worried about him, right? I mean, me getting sent there says like, hey, I'm a threat. Like they thought I was a threat, and that helps my story. So I think getting sent to fire, if you can make it through it, isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I had considered that my only chance to win was to make fire.
Mm,
Like I kind of like there was this like really perverse part of me, because I'm terrible at these challenges. There was this like
like to overcome that.
yeah, there was this like really perverse part of me that wanted to go to fire, just to be like, I fucking, I mean, just like you said, like I had to earn my spot here. Like,
Yeah,
anyways,
it's something. It's
yeah.
something.
But I mean, like Steak and I both had votes on ourselves when we went into final, and then, or I guess all three of us had votes on ourselves. Like I think Kupo had one, I
Hmm.
had I had like 2 or 3, and then Steak had like a fucking bunch. Um, but
I mean, the thing is, it's hard to make a case on the voting basis. Like, look, yeah, Taste never got his name written down. Jose, I don't believe did either,
Nope,
right?
no, both of them had
But
0
like,
votes.
okay, but I got two at the very end. Like, it's not really we were not players who people were voting against. Like, yeah, zero is less than two, but not by much.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I don't know. I think the two votes on me is almost better than Taste not getting those votes at the end because again, then he goes to fire. I think that it's like I don't know the fact that like not none of us were players who generally were voted. We weren't Merc, right? Like
yes.
Merc got votes. That's different. So
I remember a question. Sorry, I know that we've been talking for a while. I'm having a
I'm good.
I'm good, by the way.
Yeah,
So I
it's all
wanted to
good.
go back to the coconut chop really quick because there was a really interesting question in there was a couple interesting questions
Yeah, there
in
were.
the coconut chop, and I'm sorry that I just had forgotten about that. But so
Yeah.
there was
I'm
the
sorry, my stomach is making noises. I don't know if you're picking up on that. I need to eat something. Anyway, go ahead.
so there was the question where it was like, besides yourself, who do you who do you think? I can't remember the exact phrasing, but I think it was like, besides yourself, who do you think is most likely to win?
Mhm.
Where publicly everybody answered taste,
Yeah. So
or
no, no, no.
everybody
So
answered
publicly,
you.
everybody guessed me. But you got to remember the problem with that game is it's cheesable because you just don't want to be the first person to answer. You see someone answer it and then you just follow them. That's the problem with that game, right?
Yeah,
So I get that everyone, and I also don't know. It's also very possible that the real winner of that gets just like one more than the other one. There's no way no one said me. Someone said me, I'm sure. I was a high profile player, so someone probably said me. I'm guessing Taste wins that question maybe by one vote, like maybe two. I don't know. Like you would
yeah,
know or Cena would know better than me. It was interesting, but I don't put much stock in the fact that everyone guessed me. I think just like one or two people guessed me first, and then if you want to play that game and try to win it, you just go with the majority, which
yeah.
is boring. But again, like can't fault the players for trying to win.
I actually have a suggestion for how to fix it, how to fix that game.
RNG, and do you do the answers privately and reveal them all
No,
together?
no,
No?
you do it minority game. So you want to answer in the minority.
That's interesting. Yeah, that it shakes it up. It definitely changes it. Like give an answer that no one else gave.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you'd have to not be upfront about that when you're
So
collecting the data. That's for
the
sure.
well, no, no,
But
no. The way that it would work is so, like, you would say basically, and we can talk more about this, but my vision of
sure.
it is that everybody gets to answer a question that has two choices. So your question could be
Ah, okay.
your question could be the sky is green, and so that the two choices are the sky is green, the sky is not green, and then you're trying. I like it probably have
It's
to.
almost like split the room on
Yeah,
Jackbox, where
yeah,
you're not trying to get the right thing, you're trying to contrive something. That's
yeah,
interesting. I mean, I think if you want to play this game in the same way, the biggest issue I had with it was that I had to cut first every time, which showed where I was cutting and people could target me. I felt me and Chaos like griped about that. We felt kind of persecuted as people with early names. It just sucked for us. The
hmm
other thing is that those answers I thought should have been either submitted in Discord or something and then posted. That way people can't just like follow where the trends are going. Because that's kind of the issue.
yeah. That's
Right, like
interesting.
once two people post something, if you're tied with everyone, you're not really incentivized to go rogue. You may as well go with the
Yeah,
numbers, and then you end up with a bunch of spammed answers. So, like, I get that, like, and Cena, I think to his credit, said like a lot of why he kept things in the forums is like it's something awful Survivor, not Discord Survivor.
yeah,
I will say, like, if I ever run one of these, I don't really feel much loyalty to something awful. I want a game that works for me. I would probably be leaning on Discord a bit more because a lot of the challenges too sort of came down to like who's refreshing the fastest and seeing the
hmm
thing first, and that's tough.
yeah,
That's it's just tough.
yeah. I thought, oh my god, your reactions to the. So, oh, I guess one thing I want to talk about too was I loved your decision to stream the
Oh,
challenges
good.
because I mean you won the vote, the viewer's choice vote, like pretty handedly. I mean, I know that 42% of the vote or something like that, and the next closest to you was like Haschel with like
Ashel, yeah.
19%.
Hmm.
I mean, I thought a lot of the decisions that you made to do video confessionals, stream, to even, and I know that there was some wackiness, but like
Yeah.
when you were doing kind words, like I don't know if you understand that like people like fucking legitimately connected with that.
Oh,
Like at
good.
least I don't want to speak for everybody. Like when you were doing kind words, and I don't even remember like some of your specific answers, but you would talk about. I remember there was one. I do remember one actually where the person was like, "I just don't have the motivation to do the stuff that I love anymore," and you you talked and you were like, "Okay, well, in my professional opinion, like depression or something like that is something that can cause this," and you gave this like really detailed answer about like why you were going to answer that question the
Yeah.
way that
Has
you
a lot to
did.
do with Survivor.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. And I mean, I really thought that like that even though it was only like a week and a half that you did kind words, but I thought that like the kind words really connected people with you. Um, I think just in general, streaming and just having people see like your honest
yeah.
reactions.
Well, I'm like surprised that in the Let's Play season, I'm the only one who did it.
Merc
I
sort
saw
of.
his I saw his meow videos. They made me laugh.
Yeah,
I don't
Merc sort of stream, but it's it's weird that like it's
like
weird
it.
that like more people haven't thought of this, I guess. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'm glad that I wasn't streaming last year because there was a lot of times where I just really just fucking went nuclear after votes.
So, a question for you. Do you think that streaming might very well have calmed you down? Because
It's
I think it calmed me down,
it's
right?
possible. It's
Like, you introduce an audience and you feel suddenly the tension of like, there are people watching me. I should behave. Like, what would I think if I saw me acting this way? I don't think that I was a lot more measured, but when you've got people watching you, you want to be your best self. And
yeah.
I think I definitely put a better foot forward than perhaps I might have at times. Like I wasn't really tested too much. You didn't really see me get blindsided. I was neurotic and a little nervous at tribals because, that's how it is. But like I wasn't put in a position where things were really rotten.
Mhm.
But I do think that streaming composes you a bit. It puts a spotlight on you and you suddenly want to, be on good behavior.
Yeah. I mean, I I think I know that Cena doesn't necessarily want to like make streaming, make everybody streaming sort of the future, but like I think from a viewer perspective, it was fucking awesome.
I'm really glad. Like, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, if I once I got out of Scumver's Town, I didn't follow it, not much. Like, I followed it here and there, and I wanted to follow it enough so that I could talk with you at the end and others at the end. But like, I need something to latch on to, and I
Mhm.
don't know how many others felt that way as viewers, but it's like I said, like I fucking love the game. I miss it like crazy. I want more content. I want to see stuff. So,
Yeah.
I can't do the whole thing, but if I can give someone an avatar to like stand in, to feel things with, if I gave that to anybody, I'm really glad that I did because that's if I were watching this, if I were a viewer, I wouldn't be able to access it unless I had something like that to cling on
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So,
So here is an idea that I had like about a week and a half ago. Because one thing that a couple people in the Vista had kind of were like had said was, I really wish I had somebody that could recap everything that was going on, especially like pre-merge and stuff like that. Because there was like a lot of moving pieces, and then around the merge there was a lot of moving pieces. But so here was my question to you: would you, and
yes, whatever you
you don't
got,
have
man.
to
Whatever you got. We're know-it-alls, baby. What do
you
you
don't have
want?
to commit to it. Here's what I'm thinking. So next season, I'd like to do recaps after every tribal council of like basically the 2 days before.
Dude, we're legit know-it-alls.
I know.
We're far more legit than Rob and Steven at this point. So
I
yes, of
yeah, I think that
course,
would
let's
be
fucking go.
yeah, I think that'd be really fucking fun to just like after every tribal council just kind of sit and be like, okay,
I think
here's
we'll
what
have to set a timer. But apart from
yes.
that, well, because these things that people can access, we'll have to learn to tighten up a bit. We're rambly gentlemen,
Yes.
and that makes us good buddies. But for the sake of content, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll learn to tighten it up.
Yeah, I just was like I was kind of thinking about that over the last couple weeks about, like everybody being like, "Oh, boy, it was like I wish I could have followed this more closely. I wish I could have followed this more closely." And I was thinking like, well, it'd been nice. And honestly, I tried to do recaps of what was happening, but I mean, it was like I said, just pre-merge. It was just, and
Look, I'm all about like to me, like Survivor isn't just Survivor. It's Rob has a podcast. It's
yeah,
going to the thread every week and
yeah,
reading like it's a community experience. It's a very social game. It involves
yeah.
people. So like to me, if you can take this game, which exists on this forum, and like just think about the move of taking it from where it was to Discord and how much more accessible it is. Like if you
Hmm.
put more elements and more things in it, it just becomes a better entity.
I
So
mean,
I'm all about it.
I
Like,
mean, you
yeah,
look at the old games where it was in Google Docs,
I know. And
and
the spreadsheets, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
No,
mean,
so I get it. Like, I mean, I'm not, I won't say that like I've revolutionized things. I think I walked through a door that was just obviously standing there that for some reason everyone else was walking
I,
past. Like,
I think,
so,
I think you're, I think you're selling yourself short. I think you revolutionized. Like, I
well,
think
it's
that
got to stick is the thing, right? Like,
at least, but I think it will. Like, I think people will. I think if people look back at this game, because like people had said like, okay, well, I read the thread last season to kind of just get an idea of what had happened. But like, if they see videos, because Cena is gonna link these videos in the OP.
which ones?
So all the interviews that I've done
Oh, cool.
and this one, Cena's gonna link in the OP. So then
Cool.
people will be able to like when they go to the OP, they'll see like, oh shit, this guy was streaming. Like, wow, he won the fan favorite by an overwhelming majority. Wow, like maybe this is something I should do. So
I
I
mean,
don't
I
know.
guess it's gotta appeal to your sensibilities, and that's where I wonder if I'm weird here. Like, it's not that I saw that it was a thing. It's like people like because I did it last season. People know it's possible. I mean, I went a little crazy with it this season with all the shit that I did, but like, why didn't any like? Is this not fun for anyone else? Am I the only one who enjoys doing the stream? And am I the only one who enjoys these videos? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get why, like to me, doing that was so much fun.
You know,
Why isn't that fun for anyone else?
it's funny when you say it because when I played Awful Big Brother, I was a pretty prolific like confessionalist.
Mm.
And so when it came time for Scum versus Town, I was just like, okay, well, I'm a pretty prolific confessionalist. I'm just going to keep that going. And then when the season was over and it was like, oh my God, I love Chili's video confessionals, I was like, wait, what? Chili was doing video confessional? Or maybe you had told me or something, but I was just thinking to myself, I was like, what a good fucking idea. Like, it's so easy.
It's never been easier, right? Like, I mean, I took my phone with me, I did the thing, I pushed the button, boom, it's up there. Like, it's
Yeah.
not hard. So look, I guess it, but to me, now the cat was out of the bag last season, and I was disappointed that no one else seemed to be into it. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess not everybody read it, but like, I don't know. So I look, and as Cena said, like, goons might be camera shy. Maybe you don't want to do that.
Hmm.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's fair if you don't want
Yeah.
to, but like, I know there are plenty of people in that game who didn't mind their image being out
No,
there, and
I mean,
like,
the
if that's
fact
you,
that
then
I
fucking go
did
for it.
the fact that I did video interviews with Spokes, Hashel, Blaziken, sort of.
Okay.
Um, but like, I mean, I feel like Merc would be totally fine with
Yeah.
video. Um,
I mean, it was also the issue of time because, like, look, I'll be totally real. This stuff took time, a fair amount of it,
Yeah.
and some resources. Like, and I'm very lucky. I do have a child, but like, I have help, and we have daycare, and there are, she goes to bed, and then I'm able to do this stuff. But like, it takes time. So it's not no time. It's some time. But I don't know if you're gonna play this game, fucking play it. Like, and
That's how I
go for
feel.
it and have fun. Like, if I think if I knew I was going to win, I might not have gone as hard on all of the confessionals. I probably would have still done some and done things, but like to me, it's like I'm only going to be here until I'm gone. So while I'm here, I'm going to go and sit in front of this backdrop with this stupid buff on my head, and I'm going to put magic marker on my shirt, and I'm going to fucking do it because like I might be gone soon,
Yeah.
and I want to get the most out of the experience. I
Oh,
got the most out of the experience in two ways. I won, which I wasn't really expecting until later, like after Haschel was gone, I was like, okay, this could happen. But until then, I didn't know.
yeah.
So yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it was like I would say 7 down to 4 was probably the most boring part of the game, and that's again, that's no offense
Not
to
my
you.
fault. Yeah,
It's 100%
yeah.
not your fault.
Look, I had much less to say in my confessionals. They got, a little bit fewer and far in between because there really wasn't much to talk about.
Yeah.
Like,
I
and
mean,
that's where I started doing send-offs and like to people, which I felt
yeah.
good about. Especially Drake's. I do, I wanted to sort of come around on Drake because really Drake is a fine person who played the game exactly, I think, in a way that worked for her and gave her what she needed. And I want to sort of redact kind of where I was with that.
I mean, to I mean when you think about it, like it's really crazy that she made it to 5 when
Yeah.
she had like coming into this, she had no idea what to expect. And I think the view was kind of like, oh well, she just voted with or with taste and chili and never, kind of did anything on her own. But like my response to that is like, what the fuck else was she supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, look, it's to me one of the a legitimate win still is Natalie over Russell. What the fuck was she supposed to do?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, you got these people doing all these big flashy things. They've been here before. Like, what is she supposed to do? And it's a valid win. Like, I'm cool with her winning. It made sense. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do when
Yeah.
you're around that. And look, Taste and I came to fucking play. Like, we came to play, and we never took our foot off the gas. What would you have Drake do there?
Exactly. I
I
mean,
don't know. So
I
I don't take anything away from that.
yeah. I mean, I think that in general, once I realized that she really like, because even in Ponderosa, she was like, "Oh wait, so do we vote two people off at the end?" And we're like, "No, you just vote for the person that you want to win." And
Right.
she was like, "Oh, okay. I've never watched Survivor before,"
Right.
and and she said that, and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck? Like, nothing? Like, you've never watched this show? Like, why did you?" Like it seems weird to me to even like
Yeah, no,
sign up.
it flummoxed me as well, and I took exception to it. Again, not just with Drake, but that was Toaster and I think Chaos as well, who just had no experience with it. Like, you know,
Yeah,
different people handled it differently, but there you go.
but yeah, I mean, I thought that like Drake ultimately she really impressed me. Just mostly with her longevity in the game, considering like I said, she really didn't know. Um, I thought a lot of the cast was really fun. It was
Yeah, I asked Haschel about that because he's probably played in Red and done more Survivor things than anyone, and he said that from a cast perspective, this was in the top quartile, which is a very Haschel answer.
yes,
But I think that's fair. We had a fun cast. Yeah, and I'm glad things worked out how they did. It was
yeah, it
ultimately
was
something that
fun.
I'm happy about. The season was good. I'm glad I got to play it the way I did. I am glad I won. I do think that's it for me. I ain't playing in another one of these things. It ain't gonna
Oh
get
man,
better. Like
I
there's
always
no way.
I always make this joke that this was the hardest that winning was the hardest $50 I ever made.
Hmm. For
And
sure.
and it really like It,
Well, I don't mind that. I just think like I now have this, I could be wrong if we're talking Tony, like the lions and hyenas. I feel like I'm a lion at this point.
yeah,
I feel like if I were to go into a game like this, people are talking about me day fucking one as
yeah,
someone who needs to go and needs to go quickly. And
me
I don't
too.
know if that's true for every winner, but I feel like that's definitely true for me. Um,
Yeah.
so I would worry about that. And I think I've done all I need to do in my survivor journey at this point as a player. But I will say I'm running one of these things one of these days. I have so many ideas. I'm already putting stuff together because I miss it desperately already. So
Oh yeah.
at some point, this is gonna
I
happen.
I remember that week at that like first week or two after Scum vs. Town ended, and it was just sort of this like feeling of like, oh, it's like 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Like,
You know.
what am I doing tonight? Nothing.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll get used to it in due time. I missed reading. I miss doing other stuff, so I'll get used to it. But for
Yeah.
now, I'm happy with everything.
Yeah, as you should be. Like you played fantastically. So
Well, thanks.
yeah, I thought you just man, you fucking killed it. Like you
Yeah, I think I
identify.
rewind back to the conversation we had before the season started when you found out I was in, and you were like, "I'm not going to bother giving you any game philosophy. I think you know generally what you're doing," and that was a nice vote of confidence from you,
Yeah,
and it made me feel good. Like, okay, he won. He thinks I could possibly do this, and I'm happy that you had that
yeah,
belief in me.
yeah. I mean, I I felt confident that you would. I mean, I felt pretty confident that you would win. Um, I think my biggest concern, I think, was when I felt like the power. Or I shouldn't even say power, but like that, how everything kept breaking your way. My biggest concern was, I felt like sometimes that you not, and I when I say you, I don't mean.
Okay.
Always you, but I felt like that sometimes that the Mafia 4 got a little like big for their britches.
Yeah.
And but I also realized like if the Scum 4 had done that same thing, I probably would have been fucking, oh, what the fuck is Steak
Yeah.
doing here? Like Steak didn't come to play. Like what the fuck?
Mm.
Um
It's that kind of shit kept us together as well. It was
yeah.
something that we kind of needed to do. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think in hindsight, a lot of my reactions to stuff was pretty poor on my end. But I think that
Oh, good.
I think that at the time my biggest concern was like, man, Chili's like a little is being kind of an asshole. Like I hope that this
Mhm.
doesn't like hurt him in the jury. So that was like my biggest concern was
Sure, but just remember, like, I only took that to those people,
yes,
right?
exactly,
Like,
yes,
that was
yes,
it. And,
yeah,
I,
yeah,
and again, how much of that was legitimate versus like celebrating as a group and let's stay together because we're so great.
yeah,
there's some stuff there too.
yeah. And
But
like
I
I
did
said,
appreciate the occasional checks from like some of the mods who'd be like, "Hey, everybody, remember that people are going to read this later." Like that's helpful to remember that we're still playing a game that involves people and their feelings, and like let's not necessarily go there every time.
yeah, yeah, and I, like I said, I 100% know that one of my biggest faults is that I can be too sensitive. And so I think that my perception of things was altered by my sensitivity. And
Mhm.
so like the way that I perceive things was not necessarily reality. Like you and I, we talked about, either today or last night. I don't remember exactly when, but I was like, oh, it was like, oh, look at these stupid fucking LPers, like didn't know what they were getting into, and which is not in any universe what you guys were. And again, I know that you weren't there, but like there
But
was
like
no,
that's the whole Boston Rob thing. Like I want my troop to hate Zapatera. Like that's a thing, right? Like you
yeah,
want to hate the other. If you hate the other in this game, it benefits the we. And like you play that sometimes, and it makes
yeah,
sense. And that is like that's the thing.
hmm,
Like I might do an ego search at some point. I don't feel like I need to. I don't know how much I need to like go looking into things. I'm not gonna read any alliance chats though. I don't think I don't want to do that. Because you know what? I wasn't meant to read them. People were talking about things, and hopefully they were doing what they need to do to survive. But those chats, that it's not meant for me to read. I don't want to know what was going on, and I'm fine not knowing what was going on because that could fuck a person up. I don't want to read them. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna do it.
I think that when I ego searched, I kept it solely to the Vista.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'll do that at some point and see like when it'll just remind me of like the fun shit that happened.
You,
So
you
that
know,
that seems like a fun thing to do.
I actually reread, I actually ego searched the Vista Scum vs. Town probably like about 2 weeks ago. Just,
Mhm.
I think work was kind of slow and I was just,
Sure.
like I was feeling, I'm like,
You want to relive the glory days, man?
I you know, uh, I really am proud of my win. And sometimes I feel like that I don't, like, that I fuck things up either intentionally or unintentionally when I'm given chances. And like for example, like this game posting the alliance chart in the
Mhm.
announcements, like that had a potential to be a huge
Yeah.
fucking deal. And I was beside myself for like 2 days after it happened. I just, like, I apologized profusely to Cena, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. In my head, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I would totally understand if Chili never wanted to talk to me again. Like, I fucked up. And which I know is like probably the most extreme case, but in my head, it's like you had everything going your way, and it's like, oh, goddamn idiot Sal posts the
Do
alliance
you know what
chart.
happens then? What happens then is I'm like, oh, okay, well, my game's blown up and it's over. And now in my head, I get to think, and I would have won had it not been for that meddling Sal.
I,
And I get
I
to think that for the rest of my life. And I don't get to be proven wrong. That's a wonderful gift you've given me at that point. Like, look, man, it's a game and it's totally cool.
no.
And and I know you don't need me to tell you this now because I'm sure you've done the processing to get there, but like that shit happens and nothing about what you and I have ever changes even for a second. And I
Oh,
hope you know that.
no, I know, but like in my head, it was like, well, I won't
Mhm.
ever be able to play Mafia again. Like, I'm excommunicated from that community because I fucked up a pretty entertaining game. Like, Cena's never gonna let me play again because I fucked up a pretty entertaining game. And you know, um, I know we're going like really off topic here, and I'm sorry, but that was like my fucking biggest concern. Like, I was prepared to pay every player that was like, I was like, if Cena has to pull the game, I'm just gonna pay everybody that's still in like winner money because like we'll never know. And I was like trying to prepare. I was like, well, where am I gonna get that? Where am I gonna get that money from? I was like, okay, well, I have like this little net. Yeah, I have like little something, so like I can
Mhm.
probably handle that. But Cena, to his credit, basically told me, like, look, Taste didn't see anything, Hashel didn't see anything, and I know they didn't see anything because they would have fucking told me,
They
which
would have.
which Hashel confirmed with me when I did, because I
Mhm.
specifically asked him about that.
I did,
And
yeah, I did too. I know I probably wasn't supposed to, but we were concerned as well.
no, it's fine. And I
So
mean, you guys had every right to be concerned because it would have blown up a
yeah, there.
lot.
Look, and but let's play it out from the worst case scenario. And Hashel's a dirty rat bastard who takes the information and sabotages everything. It doesn't matter. It was a mistake,
Yeah.
and that's all it was. It was just
No,
a mistake.
I know, I know. But it's just like I feel like I can be. Jesus Christ, this is like, sorry, this is turning into like a session, isn't it? Um, I know that I can tend to be like a little hard on myself, and so you know, but I take like huge pride in my win, like,
You should.
and as should you. And so anyway, so like I did the ego search, just I was like feeling a little down. I was like, oh, let's, like, I just want to reread the glory days. And it was so fun, like, reading it. And I would read like specific comments, and I was
Yeah,
like,
that's the best.
I was like, I would either go, I wonder what they were talking about, like, I wonder what the context of this you know comment was. And then sometimes you know anyways, So I really hope when you ego
I'm
search,
gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it around. Like, look, how many
Vista,
times have I watched, Christian Hubicki standing on the pole for 6 hours? It's a fun thing to watch, and
yeah,
I had a lot of fun playing this game. So just going back in time and getting to relive it and be there,
it's fun. It's a
that's gonna
ton
be
of fun.
fun.
Yeah.
So I'm not letting go of any of this, and
No,
yeah,
man.
it's
I
been fun,
mean,
sort of just walking through it today with you.
yeah, I appreciate you taking time to kind of talk through everything, and it was so much fun to watch, and I'm so glad that I'm glad that you won. I'm glad that you won in a way that you're proud of. I thought you and Taste's story and you and Taste's legitimate friendship throughout the game was just so fun to watch because I don't really know Taste outside of like the couple times I played Mafia with him. So, getting to kind of see like, oh, well, I don't really know Taste at all. And, Chili thinks he's fucking great. So, like,
Mhm.
he must be great. It changed. Not that I had a negative impression of Taste, although, truth be told, when I did see the cast list, the one person, when I saw that you and Taste were on the same tribe, I was like, oh, fuck, that's not good. Because for some reason I had it in my head that like Taste would be like, oh, I gotta get out like threats.
Ah, okay,
And
fair enough.
so
And there you go. See, things can be surprising. You don't know.
yeah, so when I saw that you and Taste were on the same tribe, I was like, oh fuck, that's not good. Like, oh shit, I'm worried about like Taste gunning for Chili. And then when you guys like teamed up literally on day one, I was like, okay, well this is good. Like, but
Hmm.
I had no idea that how compelling like the Taste and Chili story would become, and a
Good.
lot people enjoyed it. Like,
Good. I'm really glad, and I hope Taste takes pride in that as well, because we worked together for a long, long time, and we put a lot of our asses into it. So I'm glad.
yeah. Did you tell anybody that you were streaming?
Did I tell anybody? What do you mean?
Did you tell like any of the people that were playing? Did you ever mention to
It
anybody
came
that you
up
were
it came up
streaming?
lightly with the people who I was talking to more. I think when Hashel showed me like his videos of Survivor and all that, I told Hashel. But one thing I really didn't want to do was I didn't want to get any like jury votes for doing what I did. It felt
Mm-hmm.
totally separate, and I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to point it. That would feel totally cheesy and would sell out to me the experience of what I was doing. If someone asked me about it at Final Tribal, I might have answered honestly, but like beyond that, I didn't want to make a huge deal out of it. Spokes already knew. He assumed I was up to a bunch of shit. But I told Taste and Hashel, and I think probably Merc that I was doing it. Just we talked a lot, and so it came up.
Yeah.
But that was about it. Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah.
And I think I also showed them. I did show a couple people my confessional about Mike. I mean, to me, like they're my confessionals. I could basically tell you what was happening in them. So and the Mike confessional had literally nothing to do with the game, but I just
Oh,
sharing my experiences like that like helps me immensely. And so, um,
yeah. I'm sorry that. By the way, I'm sorry that we kind of skipped past the Mike confessional. That was one of the like realist, most touching things that I've seen. And like, I I was just like, I just want to give Chili a fucking hug right now.
yeah, hugs would have been appreciated. It was a rough day. But short of that, the way I chose to handle it was totally authentic. Like that, this was the bubble I was inhabiting at the time. Survivor was the thing I was thinking the most about.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to process it in that bubble. And the fact, like, one person I think sent me just a heart emoji, which didn't feel off base. I'm not going to name who it was, but one person reached out and just sent that. And I'm like, and I just sent one back, and that was sort of enough. And, the fact that for whatever reason, I guess word spread about that video because it got like, triple the views of like all the other ones and pretty quickly. So it seemed like that resonated with people, and that meant the world to me.
Yeah,
Um,
people in the Vista when you posted it, um, I I will just say I did not watch every single one of your confessional videos. I watched, I would
Fair
say,
enough.
the bulk of them.
I posted a lot of them, so
I
it's
mean,
okay.
some days you were putting out like two or three, and it was pretty. The fucking
Yeah,
output was goddamn impressive. But I mean, there was just like some where I was just like, okay, I read the title and I was like, okay, this is probably not anything. I'm probably
fair
not going to
enough.
glean any new information here. But when people in the Vista started saying like, oh my god, this did you watch Chili's newest confessional? And I was like, oh no, I haven't yet. And so it was a lot of people in the Vista were talking about it.
Okay. Yeah, and I obviously wasn't there to participate in that, and that's totally cool. But just knowing that I wasn't just talking into a void, and that some people were sharing in my experience. I mean, that's how people process trauma, right? We do it together, and
Yeah,
so even though there wasn't and there weren't faces to it, there were numbers, and that meant something. It really did. And I had my weekly therapy appointment with my therapist on Tuesday, and by the time I got to him, he was like, "So how you doing?" I said, "I think I'm okay."
yeah,
And I really was. And I think I was largely okay because of what I chose to do and how I chose to handle it, and the fact that I think people did see it and it meant something to them.
yeah.
So that was a big deal. And
I mean,
yeah,
I think I think your greatest strength was just staying true to yourself, like the whole, the whole game, and like, you didn't try to like you didn't try to become like a character, or you didn't try to become like, you just stayed true to who you are, and it was as
I
notable.
didn't have enough energy to try anything else, man. I was putting too much into this. Like I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been able to do it. Like it was just all I had was me. Like anything else would have been too tiring. So yeah.
Did you ever? Was there any? I mean, I know that I watched most of your tribals. Were there any tribals where you were like, "I'm definitely playing my idol tonight," and then didn't,
No.
or no?
No.
Yeah, there was never a time where I was like, "Oh, I hope Chili
Nope.
plays his idol
Nope.
tonight."
Nah, I wish I had a reason to. It would have made for better TV, man. But like I had that idol, and look, to me, the strength in the idol, and I pointed out a bunch of times when I added you about like, see, I'm building a relationship, Sal, and like you are right. All hail to that information. It's true, but like playing an idol to save yourself is like sure one of the most important things. Building a relationship is two, but three is keeping an idol off of the table.
Yeah,
And so as long as it was in my pocket, it wasn't in the jungle. And if it's not in the jungle, it doesn't end up in someone else's hands.
I
And that's big.
yeah. I mean, if Taste had never played, and this is not
Yeah.
this is not a knock against Taste, because like, look, like that merge tribal can always be a little interesting.
No, it's I think it was fine for him to play it to guarantee, well, from the problem, the big mistake there was I shouldn't have held on to it. Like, look, if he's going to get blindsided, like we had that strategy of like, well, look, that way if one of us goes and the other one has two, and that's nice. But like, I shouldn't have held it. It should have been him because me playing it for him was a problem. Like, it felt like a problem for me, and for our dynamic. Like, everyone kind of knew what was up at that point, and that was not great. So the bigger mistake there was that I played it for him. But like, I think it's okay to play an
Yeah,
idol in that situation. Who the hell knows, and you don't want to go at the merge, so that's
yeah,
that's fine. But it should have we should have agreed that in that case for me to just give it back to him.
yeah. I mean, MMT played her idol at the merge when she wasn't on.
Mhm. Reasonable. Like it's the merge vote,
Yeah,
man. You just don't know. Like I'm cool with
yeah.
that. And
Shit gets crazy. Shit gets
now had he
crazy at the
not had
merge.
that idol not been played though, and now we just sit on idols for the rest of the game. I mean, it's pretty nuts to think about like how secure we would have felt. Things
Yeah,
obviously go differently, so I don't know
yeah,
how that happens. The game is volatile, it changes, but yeah.
yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we haven't hit?
No, man, we've kind of covered a whole bunch. I think
Yeah,
we got there, so it's all good. I'm just grateful again for the opportunity. Clearly there's a lot of work that goes on. So for all of you guys, I mean, I got the sense that you almost not necessarily were like a last minute mod, but it seemed kind
oh,
of
I
like
was.
it. Okay, but you ended up carrying a lot of the work and doing that, and
Well,
arranging the chats and doing those things. So just
so
like to everyone involved, like I'm super
yeah.
fucking appreciative of that.
Yeah, so what had happened was that I literally had reached out to Cena about maybe a day or two before it started, and I said something like, hey, how would you, Chili did this interview with me last year that I really appreciated. Like, would you be okay if I reached out to the people as they got voted out to see if they wanted to do something similar? And he was like, yeah, yeah, that'd be fine. I was like, okay, cool, great. And then, I don't know, it was probably like the day after the game started, he was like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and make you like a co
Yeah.
mod so that you can prompt confessionals too. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I really, I really like,
Like you embrace the role, and I'm
I
glad you
embraced
did.
it because I figured to like, if I'm not going to play, like, I want to try to make this experience as like fucking fun for
And
people
that's
as I
and
can.
that's why we're buddies, because I want to make this experience as fun for people as I can. I think that's one of the things that won us our games. Like we
Yeah.
just genuinely did want to make this fun for people.
And it was,
So,
on the modding side, like, some people were so good about confessionals, and some people it was like
pulling
pulling
teeth.
teeth. And
Yeah.
it wasn't necessary. Like, I don't know if you remember this, there was like one time where Cena just posted like, if you don't post in your if you don't
Yeah.
answer the confessional question, you don't get to play in the immunity challenge. And
And
it was,
I sassed back at that, and then he put me in my place, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, you see what I'm doing here?"
yeah,
I took exception to like getting some kind of an ultimatum from out there hauling cameras through the jungle. So,
yeah. But I
yeah, I
mean,
get it.
there was people who had some, one of the things that was hard, that like I thought so MMT was the confessional ghost during Awful Big Brother 3. And so she would like prompt people's confessionals, but like she had such a natural way of doing it where it was so hard to like try to ask people questions.
Oh, look, I'm not going to speculate on who these people were, but like they're probably the same people who I had a really hard time getting the ball
Well,
rolling with for
no, no,
conversations,
I'm
but maybe
just,
not.
yeah, and I'm just talking about in general that it was really hard to ask people questions without like tipping
Oh
tipping them
yeah,
tipping them
yeah,
off to stuff. It's like I said with Haschel, like I just want to be like, Haschel, tell us who the fuck you're voting for.
right. It'll help your game, but you don't want to do that.
Yeah, but it like obviously, you can't do that, but it was just like it was hard. Like, man, it was is interesting seeing like the back end, and those like idols that Cena hid on those hidden forums, like he posted those like a year ago.
Yeah, good
I
idea.
I mean, he does this stuff. Like he'll go through and edit posts like 2 years before they ever need to be used, and
Yeah,
it's
you got to
just so that,
breadcrumb it.
yeah, it's just so that people can't go, oh, this weird. This post was edited 4 days ago. Like, what the hell?
Right. Hmm. Smart.
Yeah, I
I'm
know that.
glad you enjoy being a mod. I'm
Yeah, I,
glad.
I know that
Yeah.
there was. I know that a lot of times the nights were late, and like, trust
Mhm.
me, I fucking know those nights were late because I was up. I was up with you guys, and um, I would never pretend that I could run things nearly as well as Cena does. But um, yeah, I know that the late nights were hard, and yeah, that was. I think if I could have changed anything, I would wish that tribals and stuff would have started at least at a minimum an hour earlier.
Yeah, honestly, if that did happen, you probably don't have me participating in this season for what it's worth.
If they
Like that
started
would
in,
have, yeah, I could have done it. Like it would have been right up against like the one of the big reasons why I couldn't keep on going last season was like bedtime, man. It was
oh,
like
that
bumping up
makes
into that. So like 10 o'clock when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I can make that work. But nine, that's tough. So I'm probably not in this season if it didn't start then. I do
interesting.
wish that things could have been more expedient, but like, I probably wouldn't have been there. So there is that. Not to say that like I'm like the, God's gift as a survivor, but I don't get to participate for sure
Hmm.
unless that's the case. So
Yeah,
I'm glad I got to, and wouldn't
yeah.
have changed anything accordingly. But there you go.
I was really touched that you donated your winnings to the Esophageal Cancer Foundation.
Oh yeah, that was a no-brainer, and I'm gonna post later. But I've already matched the donations that I got from you guys, just
Oh
to
man,
keep the ball rolling. So I'm gonna post that later. I was always intending to donate the money if I didn't win it, and then if I won it, And suddenly I'm seeing everybody be so charitable. Now I couldn't help myself. So I've already done that. I'm going to post it in the thread later.
Because didn't
But
you?
like,
I
yeah.
think last season you talked to MMT about something like that, right?
Yeah, no, MMT promised me the prize money if she won, and I said like, no, 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 you're donating it or something. Don't give it to me. And MMT and I have a history of like charities and games and all this stuff. So she ended up giving the viewers prize that she won to charity,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to pick it. So that touched me, and this is sort of a continuation of that.
Well, I
So,
feel like a real shitheel now.
oh man, this is you can make your money, do whatever the hell you want with it. And I am a very fortunate person. Like I don't need that money. And it is what it is. So like to me, like I got everything I needed out of this experience, and it was exactly what it was. So, if we can sort of push things together for Mike's memory, that's a huge deal for me. And
Yeah.
that's better than anything else. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it was yeah, I mean, I think I think you played wonderfully. I was so happy that you won. Have you seen the stock, like the stock watch
I
at all?
saw someone post something. I don't know what the fuck that is. Can you give me like a quick TLDR? What is
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So basically, FL which I think their name is Flashing Lights, but I'm not
Is it
100%.
Fast Luck? That's not
Oh,
Fast
Fast
Luck?
Luck. Fast Luck. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So Fast Luck basically would give everybody like a dollar amount. So we all started with like, it was like $200 or something like that, and it was like, if you were favored to win, like your stock was more expensive,
Hmm.
whereas if you weren't, your stock was cheaper. But then
Okay.
like as people would make moves, or when it would look like people would get farther, their stock might go up in price. It's like I don't think yours ever dipped, but like yours, I mean, yours was like so fucking you and Taste, Merc, and Jose. So basically, Mafia 4 were like obviously the four most expensive, like throughout
Sure.
everything. But it was the stock watch. It was so much fun. Like,
I have to actually, I want to like get I've heard the TLDR. Now I want to read more. I don't know if that can be summarized or explained, but I want to get a sense of that at some point. That sounds fucking interesting.
it was.
So,
So then every time that we would get a new stock option for the first like month, we would all get $100 as well. So like you could sell stock. So like I bought a bunch of
sounds like a
sal.
hell of a thing to moderate.
I mean, Fast Luck, Fast Luck took care of like
Sure.
everything on their end. I think that I ended up with. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Stonk. Viewers Vista. Let me see if I can find it. I had like. Oh, here we go. So I had 7 stocks in Chile and 8 in Merc. And like at that point, I'm finding the one from Final Six. So it was like you were $27, Taste was 25, Merc was 21, Jose was 18, Chaos was 7, and Drake was 2. I wish I could find like the final one, but you were like $40 a share. But
That was pricey. Okay.
yeah, it was fun. I don't
Cool.
remember who. I
Well,
think
I'm glad that shit like that was happening though. I hope more like that's all I ever want for this. I want it to be bigger and I want more people to find more things to
yeah.
do.
And you know what was crazy was that it all happened organically. Like Fast Luck was like, "Hey, would anybody be interested in doing like
Like a
stocks?"
stock mini game. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, they do that. So they do that on the Big Brother podcast on Rob Has a Podcast. They do like a similar stock watch type
Hmm.
thing, and it always sounds fun." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be fun." Yeah, so then so I found the next one out. So you were like $22, and then after you voted out Chaos, it was you 29, Taste 28, Merc 24, Jose 17, Drake was 2, and then it just kept going. It just kept going up and up from there. So it was fun.
That's cool.
At some point, for some dumbass reason, I had you and Taste as like my two primary, and I sold a bunch of Taste stock to buy a bunch of Mercs. Like I sold half of the stock that I owned in you, and like and then all of the stock that I owned in Taste to buy Merc stock. and I don't know like why I
Eh,
did
you
that.
don't want to buy Merc stock. Well,
Yeah,
that's fun, man. I'm glad. And like, again, these ideas that are all out there, and like none of this is reinventing the wheel. You just got to pick up the steering, or pick up. You got to put your foot on the gas. You just got to go, like, do it. All these things are good and fun, and I'm happy that this was a good and fun season. So,
yeah. Oh man, I mean,
yeah,
it is awesome. Like there was so much fun stuff happening in the Vista. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to catching up on all that for sure.
yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate again everything that that you taking your time to talk to me for hours and hours and hours
Sure,
is very fun. Uh, I
indeed, man. I was looking forward to this conversation too.
I have been like, man, I was so worried that I don't know. This might sound bad. I was worried that you weren't gonna make it. Like I don't.
No, you wanted me to, and
I
I see
wanted you
that.
to because
Yeah.
I wanted both of us to like I wanted both of us to be able to like just celebrate, you know.
No, it's going to be very different when I meet you in person and we get to clink our glasses together knowing we both won this
Um,
fucking game.
I'm
That's
s-
really cool, man.
yeah, I'm so pumped. Like it,
So yeah, no, I'm excited about it, and it's different knowing that we both won. Like it's different. So
yeah,
it's good stuff. It's good
yeah.
stuff.
I hope you like the stocks because the stocks was like
I'll check it out. No, I'm all about it. I'm definitely going to look
it's
into that and
it's really
see what was going
interesting
on
seeing
there.
like uh
Hopefully someone can like summarize it if they've got it so that it can sort of be parsed out. Like if Fast Luck went to all that trouble, they could probably just like put it in a
mhm.
document to show the progression or something because I'm interested now,
Yeah,
but
there
for
was
sure.
the only time that any of the Mafia 4 went down was like I think when Taste was trying to do flip that vote and then it didn't work and then it looked like Taste was kind of on the outs. I think Taste stock like plummeted, but then it was like right back up right after
Yeah,
that.
makes sense. Cool.
So, but yeah, the stock everything was it was, the whole thing
It's
was just
cool.
so much fun. So, anyways, thank you so much for
Yeah,
talking.
man.
I will have this up on YouTube shortly,
Cool.
probably tomorrow. And then I've
Cool,
got
cool.
like a bunch of other interviews to edit and put together. And then, like I said, I've
Awesome.
talked to most of the jury. So,
That's really cool. I'm looking forward to watching those too.
yep. Have a fantastic night
All right,
and
yeah, you too, man. Take care. Thank you.
congratulations again.
Thanks, man. Stay well, okay?
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right, bye.